Chapter 21:16. Thinking about what happened between her and Zhao Wenshui last time, Qian Chunxiu hated old Zhao's family. Now, seeing old Zhao's family made her angry, let alone having a meal with them. By then, before she even ate, she might have already started a fight. I'm not going. Seeing those people makes me upset. I don't want to eat at the same table with them. Qian Chunxiu said unhappily, clearly expressing her attitude and position. Ma Xiaofeng frowned and was a little embarrassed. Qian Chunxiu pursed her lips and continued to say, Xiaoyu and I can just find a table and sit down. Anyway, we don't want to sit at the same table with old Zhao's family. Ma Xiaofeng sighed and had to follow Qian Chunxiu's temperament and arrange a table for Qian Chunxiu and Ma Xiaoyu alone. The reason why she let Qian Chunxiu and Ma Xiaoyu eat with old Zhao's family was that she wanted Qian Chunxiu to eat more. Otherwise, Qian Chunxiu and Ma Xiaoyu couldn't eat much at the same table. After all, two people couldn't eat much at the same table. At most, they would be full after eating a few dishes. They wouldn't have the chance to taste many dishes. It would be different if they sat at the same table with old Zhao's family. There were more people and more food. They could have a good meal with a few more dishes. Otherwise, it would be boring to be full after eating a few dishes. However, Qian Chunxiu didn't want to sit at the same table with old Zhao's family, so she wouldn't say anything about it. If she felt that the dishes weren't enough, she could take some back with her. Anyway, the restaurant was in her hands, so it wasn't difficult to get more food. Ma Xiaofeng arranged a table for Qian Chunxiu and Ma Xiaoyu. Then, there was a noise outside. Zhao Ping stood outside and called Ma Xiaofeng a few times. Xiaofeng, come here. What's wrong? Ma Xiaofeng had just finished asking when she looked up and saw several relatives of her family. They were her uncles and aunts, as well as her grandparents. Zhao Ping said angrily, Ma Xiaofeng, your relatives said that they would also come to the restaurant to eat. Now that there are so many people in the restaurant, how can we arrange everything? Ma Xiaofeng frowned and replied, I didn't. When did I call them over? Ma Xiaofeng's relative shamelessly came over and said to Ma Xiaofeng, Xiaofeng, I heard that you have a share in this restaurant. Since it's opened, we, as relatives, naturally came to join in the fun. Zhao Ping brought her whole family over to eat. As her uncle and aunt, shouldn't you invite us over to eat as well? As for these relatives, Ma Xiaofeng was extremely disgusted. How could she let them take advantage of her? For so many years, she didn't have a father, so she was very unfamiliar with the people of the Ma family. When her family was in trouble, no one was willing to help, so now she couldn't let these people take advantage of her. Somewhat angrily rolling her eyes at these people, Ma Xiaofeng unhappily replied, You guys are dreaming. Why should I let you eat? Hurry up and leave. Don't take advantage of me. With that, Ma Xiaofeng began to push them out. The Ma family members were also a little unhappy and mocked. Haha, Xiaofeng, didn't you just open a restaurant? Now that you're rich, have you forgotten your surname? Chapter 21:17. That's right. Now that you're rich, you don't recognize us anymore. Who do you think you are? You're not filial at all. Haha, at least she knows that her surname is Zhao and knows to invite her family over to eat. You, on the other hand, are not sensible at all. Xiaofeng, you're our Ma family seed. Although your father is no longer around, you can't just not recognize us. Uncles and aunts are still uncles and aunts. Blood is thicker than water in a family. No matter how rich one is, one can't forget one's roots, understand? The people of the Ma family spoke one after another in a dignified and righteous manner. When Ma Xiaofeng heard the Ma family's words, she was almost disgusted. When her father passed away, these people did not reach out to help. What was worse was that they knew that she had a small family and kept bullying her. Those uncles and aunts actually wanted to snatch the few acres of farmland that her father left behind in the world. Fortunately, Li Zheng stepped in and upheld justice, not letting the few acres of farmland in the family be taken away by others. These people from the Ma family did not care about their friendship and even stepped on them when they were in trouble. But now that she was starting to become rich, these people shamelessly came over to ask for benefits. Could it be that these people's memories were that bad? Could it be that they had completely forgotten how they treated her family in the past? Ma Xiaofeng's face darkened. Facing the Ma family, she really could not bring out her good temper. She spat on the ground and scolded. Huh? What blood is thicker than water? What bullsh *T relatives? Why didn't you mention it when my family was poor? All of you even avoided us, afraid that my mother and I would come over to ask for food. Now that I've opened a restaurant, you're hoping to take advantage of it. Do you really think we're stupid? Don't talk to me about family. My father died long ago. It was my mother who raised Xiao Yu and me. It has nothing to do with you. You didn't help my family in the past, so don't expect to get any benefits from me now. The Ma family members were a bit like scoundrels. It wasn't easy for them to travel so far and arrive at the town today. They just wanted to freeload a meal. Now that Ma Xiaofeng chased them away, of course they were not willing to leave just like that. Little phone girl, it seems that you really don't intend to acknowledge us poor relatives. You're so calculative about the past. You're really holding a grudge. But Xiao phone girl, I still have to remind you that if you stay in Shui Lawn Village, you will need someone to help you. If you offend us relatives, let's see who will help you when your family is bullied. You two are orphans and widows. You don't have a man at home. If you're really bullied, no one will stand up for you. That's right. Let's have a meal now, and we won't pursue what you said just now. If anything happens to your family in the future, as relatives, we can at least protect you. Ma Xiaofeng felt an indescribable sense of disgust when she saw the Ma family's attitude of giving her alms. She didn't like to hear those words. She just felt very unhappy. Ma Xiaofeng continued to drive them away. Go, go, go. Who needs your help? When our family is rich in the future, what kind of trouble can we run into? Even if there was trouble, there was nothing money couldn't solve. I don't need your help. Chapter 21:18. Zhao Ping who was listening at the side, said sarcastically, Xiaofeng, your relatives are here to take advantage of you. Of course, you can't believe their nonsense. If you let them eat you once, and they don't blame you for the second and third time, they will continue to let you eat them. Our restaurant is used to make money, not for relatives to eat and drink. If they come here often, we won't be able to do business anymore. It's better to use it to entertain relatives. How can we make money? I guess we will have to close down after a while. Ma Xiaofeng's words and Zhao Ping's ridicule and sarcasm made the Ma family feel embarrassed. Looking at the dishes being cooked in the restaurant, the Ma family couldn't help but want to go in and eat. Even if Ma Xiaofeng didn't agree, they must rush in and have a meal. Xiaofeng, you're so stingy. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Stingy is stingy. Don't talk nonsense. Let's go in and have a meal. I don't believe this girl is shameless enough to ask us for money. The Ma family said and didn't care so much. They squeezed together and prepared to go into the house. After Ma Xiaofeng saw it, she was impressed by the Ma family's shamelessness. It seemed that if she didn't show them her power, they would treat her as a sick cat. She must teach these relatives a lesson. Zhao Ping was also very impatient and said with disgust, Xiaofeng, why are you talking to these shameless people? Just tell them to get out. Hearing Zhao Ping's words, Ma Xiaofeng picked up the broom beside her and waved it at the Ma family. Get out of here. Don't think about going in to eat and drink. I said that I won't let you eat, so don't come here shamelessly. Otherwise, I'll deal with you one by one. Facing Ma Xiaofeng's fierce look, Ma Xiaofeng didn't know if it was because Ma Xiaofeng's eyes were too intimidating, but the Ma family was a little scared. However, they were unwilling to be driven away by Ma Xiaofeng. Originally, the other branches of Ma Xiaofeng's family felt uncomfortable when they got rich. If they didn't take advantage of her now, they wouldn't feel good. The Ma family's bolder people stepped forward, wanted to go into the restaurant. They originally thought that Ma Xiaofeng was just threatening them. Who knew that Ma Xiaofeng's broom really would fall on their bodies? The relative who was beaten cried out in pain. The other relatives were shocked. Xiaofeng, you. Let's just forget it. Let's go. It's just a meal. It won't be worth it if you get injured. Xiaofeng. If we really make a fuss, she won't be able to reason with us, even if we go to the officials. But Xiaofeng is obviously crazy. I don't want to be beaten. It's not worth it if I get hurt and suffer losses. The more cowardly relatives already took a step back and planned to leave. At this time, Ma Xiaofeng's grandfather stepped forward to reprimand them. He accused Ma Xiaofeng of not being sensible and hitting her own elders. Later, he would chase Xiaofeng's family out of the clan. In the future, even if they died, they wouldn't be buried together with the Ma family. The Ma family still thought too highly of themselves. Ma Xiaofeng didn't care about their threats at all. Chapter 21:19. If you don't want to bury them, then don't bury them. Who cares? Just hurry up and get lost. Ma Xiaofeng continued to wave the broom. Zhao Ping was a little anxious after watching from the side. Xiaofeng, aren't you being too nice? Aren't you being too polite to them? If you chase them away like this, when will you be able to drive them away? These people are all shameless. Why are you being so polite to them? Really? After Zhao Ping muttered a sentence, she eagerly rushed into the restaurant's kitchen. Then, she took out a bucket of swill and said to the Ma family, "Are you leaving or not? If you don't leave, the swill in this bucket will be poured on your body." The swill had an unpleasant rancid smell. If it got on the body, it would stink to death. Seeing this, the Ma family couldn't continue to stay. Let's go. Xiaofeng girl treated us like this. We will remember it. What are you, unfilial to your elders and still expecting to have great prospects? This restaurant better close down after a few days. In the future, you won't be able to earn money. The Ma family's attitude was really disgusting. After their mouths were full, they resentfully left. After being disturbed by the Ma family, Ma Xiaofeng's good mood was suddenly ruined. After Zhao Ping watched the Ma family leave, she coldly snorted. Then, she turned to Ma Xiaofeng and said, "Xiaofeng, next time they're like this, you must not be polite to them. The more you give them an inch, the more they want a mile. Just like me, I don't believe that they won't be afraid of splashing swill on them." Ma Xiaofeng pulled the corner of her mouth. "Sister Ping, I know. It's good that you know. AI, Xiaofeng, you are too kind." She was kind. Ma Xiaofeng couldn't help but want to laugh. This was the first time someone said that she was kind. She was just used to being bullied. In the past, her mother took care of her and her younger brother. She didn't know how many times they were bullied. Her behavior just now, in the eyes of the Ma family, was definitely going to turn the sky upside down. "Sister Ping, let's hurry up and get busy. There are a lot of people here today, so the restaurant must be very busy." Ma Xiaofeng hurriedly nodded. Okay. Let's hurry up and get busy. We'll be busy for the next few days." The two of them had already entered the restaurant. Fortunately, the waiters had all worked in other restaurants before and were experienced. Although there were a lot of people, they weren't so busy that they couldn't figure out the directions. They were still orderly. The tables in the restaurant were all full. Some of the customers who couldn't eat went to other restaurants. Those who were free were lining up in front of the restaurant. Zhao Yun'er tasted the dishes that were served. The taste was not bad. It was the usual taste of a restaurant. This kind of taste was not very outstanding. With this kind of taste, the business would not be too bad, but of course it would not be too good either. The only specialty was the pig's offal. However, Zhao Yun'er knew that the pig's offal was not bad, especially the pig's offal that was made according to her method. Many people liked it. Back then, Zhao Ping's stall sold pig's offal so well. One could imagine how much the people of Yang City liked it. However, with only this dish, everyone could eat it for a period of time. After eating too much, they wouldn't want to eat it anymore. Without the pig's offal, the restaurant couldn't innovate and the business would be greatly affected in the future. Old Zhao's family ate at the same table. Zhao Yun'er ate a little and was full. She didn't want to eat anymore and continued to play with Tian at the side. Chapter 21:20. In Mu Yinfeng's opinion, these dishes were not even half as good as Zhao Yun'er's. Compared to Zhao Yun'er and Mu Yinfeng, the rest of old Zhao's family ate very happily. They did not have much to eat normally, and now that they finally had a meal, how could they let it go so easily? All of them ate as much as they could, as if they were hungry ghosts that had crawled out of hell. Old Zhao's family was very shrewd, and they only ate the fish. The more oily and expensive the fish, the more they ate. They did not even touch the vegetables. After eating, their stomachs obviously bulged a lot. In the end, when they could not eat anymore, they looked at the table full of delicious dishes and stopped eating. As long as they could still eat, they would definitely continue to stuff their stomachs. Zhao did not know what to say about old Zhao's family, but she knew that not only old Zhao's family was like this, but the others were also like this. When they were almost done eating, there was still a lot of food left on the table. Liang Jinfen felt that it was a pity that there was so much food left, but they could not eat anymore. Some plates had more than half a bowl of red braised pork left. It was a mixture of fat and lean meat, and when one bit into it, one's mouth would be covered with oil. Liang Jinfen called out to Su Lady and Su Zhaodi, "You two eat. You only ate so little, and you can't eat much. If you don't eat now, you won't have anything to eat later. Don't go home and tell me that you want to eat." Su Lady touched her stomach and looked at Liang Jinfen pitifully. She said to Liang Jinfen, "Mother, my stomach is only so big. I've already eaten enough. How can I eat more?" "Then Zhaodi should eat more. Your body is not good to begin with, so you should eat more. Look at how skinny you are now, and your in-laws are not good either. They don't cook more good food for you, and they make you work every day. Aren't they afraid that your body will be exhausted?" Liang Jinfen grumbled unhappily. How could she not feel heartache for her daughter? Ever since Su Zhaodi gave birth to her daughter, the attitude of her husband's family changed greatly. Su Zhaodi had led a good life in the Huang family, especially when she was pregnant. Not only did he not have to do much work, but he also often bought her delicious food to nourish her body. Now, the Huang family was very ruthless. Even though Su Zhaodi had just given birth, they didn't let Su Zhaodi do a few days of postpartum confinement before making her work in the fields. Forget about that. The most important thing was that not only did he have to work, but he also couldn't eat well every day. His body couldn't nourish itself, and coupled with the overwork, he was on the verge of collapse. Liang Jinfen looked at his daughter. She had lost at least 5 kilograms, and there was not a single ounce of meat on her body. Unfortunately, her daughter was married. She couldn't decide the life of her grandmother's family, and she didn't have enough money to let her daughter live a good life. She could only watch her daughter suffer. Who asked her daughter to be in the same situation as her? Her stomach was not good enough, and she gave birth to a good-for-nothing. If she had given birth to a son, it wouldn't have ended up like this. Now, she could only hope that she would give birth to a son next time, so that Su Zhaodi could regain some status in her husband's family. But now that she wanted a child, it would be difficult for Su Zhaodi to conceive. She had just given birth, and her vitality was greatly damaged. Su Zhaodi looked at the table full of delicious food. She had eaten a lot of fish and meat, but now, like Liang Jinfen and Su Lady, she couldn't eat anymore. Chapter 21:21. Liang Jinfen rolled his eyes at Su Zhaodi. "Why can't you two eat? If your father were here, he would definitely eat a lot." "Mother, father is a man. Of course he would eat a lot. We can't eat that much." Su Lady grumbled. "Sigh, it's a pity that your father likes to stay at home and doesn't want to come out. Otherwise, he would be able to eat a good meal with us. He would be able to eat a lot of fish and meat." Liang Jinfen looked regretful, as if he had suffered a great loss. "Mother, the 3 of us ate a lot anyway. This meal is worth it." Su Lady comforted her. That's true. At least the 3 of us ate enough." "Sigh, there's so much left on the table. It's such a waste if we can't finish it." "Zhaodi, are you sure you don't want to eat a little more? If you don't eat, you won't be able to eat anymore." Su Zhaodi still shook her head. "Mother, I really can't eat anymore. If I could, I would definitely be stuffed into my stomach." "All right then." Liang Jinfen sighed. Su Lady's eyes turned, and she said to Liang Jinfen, "Mother, if we can't finish it, we can bring some back. There's so much left on the table anyway. If we don't bring it back, it'll be a waste." Liang Jinfen thought about it and agreed. Anyway, these were all leftovers. If no one ate them, it would be a waste if they didn't bring it back. Thus, he called the waiter over and brought a few pieces of butter paper over. He looked at the leftovers on the table and picked out the delicious and greasy ones to wrap up. When old Zhao's family saw Liang Jinfen's actions, they couldn't help but complain. "This person is really too much. He only wants to take advantage of others. He even wants to wrap up the leftovers to bring back." The one who spoke was Feng Zhangxia. Usually, her mouth was very poisonous. She didn't care if her words would make others feel uncomfortable. As soon as Feng Zhangxia finished speaking, Hu Chunhua looked at Liang Jinfen with some dissatisfaction. She stared at Liang Jinfen's hand movements with her cloudy eyes. Her mouth moved, and she cursed under her breath. They're all third brother's relatives from his wife's side. None of them are good. It's fine that we came over to eat, but they're shameless enough to come over. One meal wasn't enough, and now he's taking it all back. Does he really think Ping, or his restaurant, is his own? How infuriating. Mother, if you want to blame someone, blame it on third sister-in-law. How could she have such a relative who even dares to disgust our old Zhao family? Old Zhao's family was dissatisfied with Liang Jinfen. Zhao Yun originally didn't want to get involved, but Zhao Xinhui actually pointed the spearhead at Liang Jinxiao. Liang Jinxiao didn't do anything and was now unjustly implicated. Naturally, Zhao Yun couldn't stand by and watch. Younger aunt, your words are really interesting. My mother didn't decide which relative she has. How can you blame her? If it were up to me, I wouldn't want to have relatives like you. It's so annoying. After Zhao Yun finished speaking, Zhao Xinhui glared at Zhao Yun angrily. You wretched girl, are you only thinking of making people angry? What's wrong with us? We are much better than your second aunt. Chapter 21-22. Zhao Xinhui was infuriated by Zhao Yun's words. You be *tch. If you dare to spout nonsense again, I'll tear your mouth apart. What? Auntie, are you angry out of humiliation? I'm only speaking the truth. You can't deny it even if you don't want to. In any case, young ladies are a joke in the village. Zhao Xinhui's anger was ignited by Zhao Yun's words. She knew that her relationship with young Master Huang was ridiculed by the villagers, but she hid at home every day to avoid the gossip. Her life was as carefree as before, and she didn't care that she was the target of ridicule. Now, Zhao Yun's words were like a reminder to her. It was nothing more than rubbing salt on her wound. How could she stand it? Zhao Xinhui's eyes were red with anger. Her long fingernails were about to scratch Zhao Yun's mouth. Zhao Yun, you be *tch. I'll tear your mouth apart and see what else you can say. However, before Zhao Xinhui's hand could reach Zhao Yun, Mu Yinfeng's tall figure blocked Zhao Yun's way. Zhao Xinhui stumbled towards Mu Yinfeng. Mu Yinfeng reached out and pushed Zhao Xinhui away. Zhao Xinhui couldn't withstand the force from Mu Yinfeng's hand and fell. Zhao Xinhui landed heavily on the ground. But was hit so hard that her pelvis almost broke. Zhao Xinhui's face contorted in pain, and she almost cried. It really hurt. Master Shizi didn't know how to treat a woman with tenderness. He was too harsh on her. Mu Yinfeng's cold voice rang out above Zhao Xinhui's head. I've already warned you many times. If anyone dares to lay a hand on Yun, I won't be merciful. If you have the guts, you could try. Mu Yinfeng's cold voice carried a kind of authority that didn't allow for hesitation. Everyone present was intimidated by Mu Yinfeng. Zhao Xinhui took a while to regain her senses. She had forgotten that Zhao Yun had Mu Yinfeng's backing. With Mu Yinfeng's status, how many people dared to offend him? Unless they didn't want their lives. How many times have I told you not to bicker with Yun? You just wouldn't listen. Now you're suffering, aren't you? Hu Chunhua scolded Zhao Xinhui, then turned to Mu Yinfeng with a fawning smile. Master Shizi, please don't bicker with my girl. She's not sensible. Mu Yinfeng snorted coldly. It's the father's fault for not teaching her well. Since she's not sensible, as her mother, you should educate her well. Don't let her continue to be so unruly. Hu Chunhua was so frightened that she hurriedly replied, Yes. Master Shizi is right. I'll definitely educate her well so that she won't continue to cause trouble like this. Only then did Mu Yinfeng retract the coldness on his face. His sharp gaze shifted away from Zhao Xinhui. Hu Chunhua heaved a sigh of relief. She was actually a little worried that Mu Yinfeng would get angry and do something to Zhao Xinhui. After all, they were just ordinary people, and Mu Yinfeng was the Master Shizi. If they angered Mu Yinfeng, the consequences will be very serious. Zhao Xinhui was obviously frightened by Mu Lianfeng and didn't dare to continue bad-mouthing Zhao Yuner. She sat on the ground and was in so much pain that she didn't dare to make a sound. She looked aggrieved. Chunhua quickly walked in front of Zhao Xinhui and pulled Zhao Xinhui up from the ground. Chapter 21-23. Zhao Xinhui had a bitter expression on her face as she nodded in response. Mother, do you even need to say it? Of course it hurts. My butt feels like it's rotten. Sigh. Chunhua sighed heavily, her heart aching. Go back and get some ointment. Apply it and rub it. It should be fine. Zhao Xinhui replied pitifully. Okay, mother. I have to apply the ointment properly. Otherwise, I don't know when my butt will recover. Got it. Chunhua sighed. She really didn't know what to say to this daughter of hers. Yinner, how are you? You didn't get a fright, right? Mu Yinfeng turned around and moved closer to Zhao Yuner, asking with concern. Unlike before, Mu Yinfeng's tone was much gentler. He could only put on such a good temper when dealing with Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner shook her head. Fortunately, you blocked it in time. Nothing happened. That's good. Mu Yinfeng was relieved. But I don't know if Tian got a fright. Zhao Yuner patted Tian, who was in her arms. When Zhao Xinhui shouted at her just now, Tian was obviously stunned, as if she had been frightened. Children were like this. They were more timid and couldn't withstand a sudden shout. After Zhao Yuner patted her a few times, Tian's mood eased a lot. She was very obedient in Zhao Yuner's arms and looked at Zhao Yuner with her big cute eyes. Yaya, Tian cried out a few times. Tian, you didn't get a fright? Zhao Yuner teased. Yaya, Tian waved her little fist again. Unfortunately, Zhao Yuner didn't understand what Tian meant. The commotion caused by Zhao Yuner attracted the attention of Liang Jinfen and his family. Su Zhaodi looked at the child in Zhao Yuner's arms and couldn't take her eyes off him. The little child was in Zhao Yuner's arms. She was wearing silk clothes and looked like a little rabbit. She was soft and cute and made people feel sorry for her. Zhao Yuner held Tian's but with one hand and Tian's back with the other. Zhao Yuner was very familiar with taking care of children. Tian was held in Zhao Yuner's arms. Obviously, she thought of Zhao Yuner as her own mother. If one didn't know, they would think that Tian was Zhao Yuner's child. However, the truth was only known to those who understood the situation. When Su Zhaodi saw the little girl in Zhao Yuner's arms, her heart trembled, and there was an indescribable feeling. She looked at Tian, and her gaze was completely attracted to Tian. Was this her daughter? She saw Tian once when she was just born. The child was wrinkled and very thin when she was just born. She was not as cute and chubby as she was now. At that time, she had no choice but to abandon Tian. Who asked Tian to be a girl? If Tian was a boy, not only would she not have to abandon him, but the Huang family would also treasure him very much. Even if she was a girl, she was abandoned and suffered with her. After Tian was taken away by Zhao Yuner, her life was troubled by this kind of thing. She couldn't even take care of herself, let alone miss this child. Now that she saw Tian, Su Zhaodi found that she had an indescribable feeling. That little girl was her biological daughter. Chapter 21-24. Su Zhaodi couldn't help but stand up and walk toward Zhao Yuner's table. Liang Jinfen and Su Lady saw her and asked, Zhaodi, where are you going? Yes, sister, where are you going? Su Zhaodi glanced at the child in Zhao Yuner's arms, then looked at Liang Jinfen and Su Lady. There was a touch of loneliness in her eyes, and her lips trembled as she said, I saw my baby. I want to go and see. After Su Zhaodi finished speaking, she was a little afraid that Liang Jinfen would reprimand her. She stole a glance at Liang Jinfen. As expected, Liang Jinfen's reaction was similar to what she had expected. Liang Jinfen's face was cold as she said unhappily, It's just a good-for-nothing. What are you looking at? There's nothing to see. But mother, I want to go and take a look. Just one look is enough. After all, she's a child that I carried for a few months. A mother had a very special feeling for her child. It would have been better if she hadn't seen it, but now that she had seen it, she couldn't pretend to ignore it. Don't look. If you see it, you'll only think about that good-for-nothing. You'll probably miss it. Right now, you should take care of your body and give birth to a chubby little boy. That's the best thing to do. Mother. Su Zhaodi looked deeply at the child in Zhao Yun's arms and couldn't bear to look away. Su Lady said, Mother, if you can't do it, let sister go. It's just one look. If you don't let her go back, she'll miss it every day. Liang Jinfen looked at Su Zhaodi and then at Su Lady. She felt a little sad, especially when she saw Su Zhaodi's reluctant expression. She wasn't a heartless person. When she saw Su Zhaodi like this, it was as if she had done something unforgivable. She could only say, all right. Hurry up and go. Just one look is enough. Don't look too long. Yes, mother. Su Zhaodi responded and then walked toward Zhao Yun. Not long after, he arrived in front of Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun did not expect Su Zhaodi to suddenly come over and was startled. Then, she saw Su Zhaodi staring at the baby in her arms and understood Su Zhaodi's intention. She was here to see Tian Tian because Tian Tian was her biological daughter. However, Zhao Yun clearly remembered that Su Zhaodi had abandoned Tian Tian. If it weren't for her, it was unknown whether Tian Tian would have survived. Su Zhaodi was just an unqualified mother. She had worked so hard to give birth to her child. How could she treat her like this? If it were her, no matter what others said or what her in-laws did, she would never abandon her child so easily. Even if she had to give it her all, she would not let her child suffer any grievances. Yun'er, can you give me a hug? When she got closer and saw Tian Tian in Zhao Yun'er's arms, Su Zhaodi found that there was an indescribable feeling in her heart. She was very much looking forward to being able to hold this soft and tender child, even if it was just for a while. As Su Zhaodi spoke, her pleading eyes fell on Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er looked up and saw that Su Zhaodi's eyes were filled with tears. It was as if she would be very sad if she rejected her. Zhao Yun'er's heart also did not feel good. She didn't want to talk to a mother who treated her child like this. Chapter 21-25. In the face of Su Zhaodi's pleading, Zhao Yun replied indifferently, Didn't you say you didn't want her anymore? Why did you come here? Do you want to hug her now? Su Zhaodi understood Zhao Yun'er's meaning. It was obvious that Zhao Yun was rejecting her. There was a touch of loneliness between her eyebrows, as if she had encountered something very sad. Su Zhaodi's reaction made Zhao Yun even more uncomfortable. It made her look like a bad woman who had stolen someone else's child. Su Zhaodi opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but couldn't. Tian Tian, who was in her arms, also saw Su Zhaodi. Probably because of the blood connection, Tian Tian's big round eyes fell on Su Zhaodi as if she was sizing her up. Yun'er, she's my daughter. It's my fault for abandoning her, but now that I see her, I want to hug her. Let me hug her, okay? Su Zhaodi begged, almost kneeling in front of Zhao Yun. Tian Tian, who was in her arms, also called out a few times. She glanced at Tian Tian's pink and tender face, then looked at Su Zhaodi. Su Zhaodi was much thinner than the last time she saw her. Her thin figure made people feel sorry for her. Zhao Yun took a deep breath. She thought she could be cruel, but seeing Su Zhaodi like this, she still couldn't do it. Zhao Yun sighed and said indifferently, You can only hug her for a while. Okay. Su Zhaodi cried tears of joy and looked at Zhao Yun excitedly. Zhao Yun handed Tian Tian, who was in her arms, to Su Zhaodi. This child was very obedient and wasn't afraid of strangers. Basically, she would accept anyone who held her. Usually, the family took turns to hold her, so Zhao Yun wouldn't be so tired. If the child relied on someone, then the person who relied on her would have a hard time. Su Zhaodi took Tian Tian. The child's body was soft and small. There was a sweet, milky fragrance on her body, which was very pleasant to the nose. After hugging Tian Tian, Su Zhaodi felt a strange feeling in her heart. Thinking that Tian Tian was her child, the desire to hold Tian Tian tightened. Yun'er, what's her name? Su Zhaodi asked. It was her child, so she should have named the child. But now that the child was handed over to Zhao Yun'er, It was Zhao Yun'er's child. The name was now decided by Zhao Yun'er. Tian Tian. Her name is Tian Tian. Zhao Yun'er replied. Su Zhaodi murmured Tian Tian's name, then hugged Tian Tian and played with her. Seeing Tian Tian giggling, a sweet smile appeared on Su Zhaodi's face. It wasn't until she hugged her child that Su Zhaodi felt what it was like to be a mother. She began to regret it. How could she agree to not want such a cute child back then? She was really muddle-headed for a moment. Now, she had caused an irreparable ending. If she could go back to that time, she would definitely keep Tian Tian by her side, instead of abandoning her like now. After 10 minutes of hugging Su Zhaodi, Zhao Yun'er began to urge her. Cousin, it's almost time. Give Tian Tian back to me. Sister Yun'er, let me hold her for a while, okay? Su Zhaodi couldn't bear to put down the child and begged. Chapter 21-26. Sister Yun'er. Su Zhaodi hugged Tian Tian even tighter. Zhao Yun'er saw that Su Zhaodi wasn't listening to her, so she hurriedly stepped forward, wanting to snatch Tian Tian back. However, Su Zhaodi took a step back and avoided her. Zhao Yun'er frowned and asked, Cousin, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to snatch the child from me? Su Zhaodi's face darkened slightly. Then she looked pleadingly at Zhao Yun'er and said, Sister Yun'er, I know that I shouldn't have left Tian Tian behind, but I had no choice at that time. Can you return Tian Tian to me now? I'm Tian Tian's mother, so this child should be mine. I'll raise her well in the future, and I'll never abandon her like I did in the past. Zhao Yun'er was speechless. She was the one who had abandoned Tian Tian, and now she was the one who wanted to go back. Tian Tian was a child, not an object that could come and go as she pleased. Since she had made such a decision back then, she shouldn't regret it now. There was no medicine for regret in this world. If everyone was like this, there wouldn't be any regrets in this world. Cousin, are you joking with me? Zhao Yun'er sneered and asked. Su Zhaodi made her stance clear. Sister Yun'er, I'm not joking with you. I really want Tian Tian. I want to raise her by my side. Please return Tian Tian to me. I beg you, Tian Tian is my biological daughter. I really can't bear to part with her. Zhao Yun'er smirked and said sarcastically, Cousin, have you forgotten what you said before? Since you've done it, don't accept the consequences. Now you're in front of me and asking me to return Tian Tian to you? Are you going back on your words like this? Su Zhaodi looked at Zhao Yun'er apologetically. Sister Yun'er, what I did was wrong. I shouldn't have done it back then, and now I want to make up for it. As long as you return Tian Tian to me, I'm willing to do anything. Su Zhaodi's words made Zhao Yun even more uncomfortable. If she hadn't wanted Tian Tian from the beginning, it would have been fine. Tian Tian was Su Zhaodi's child. She couldn't have snatched her child from Su Zhaodi. But now that Tian Tian had been raised by her for a few months, she already had feelings for her. Wasn't it a joke to ask her to return Tian Tian to her at this time? Even if it was a dog that he had raised for such a long time, he would have developed feelings for it. It was impossible for him to give it away, casually. Su Zhaodi's words sounded more like she was a human trafficker who stole people from her mother. Zhao Yun'er sneered and replied to Su Zhaodi, Cousin, what are you talking about? I'm not asking you to do anything. If you really want Tian Tian back, then fine, you have to pay me back the few taels of silver I gave you. When Su Zhaodi was sent to the medical hall, she had spent a few taels of silver on the medical expenses. It was Zhao Yun'er who paid for it. Zhao Yun'er had paid for Tian Tian. If Su Zhaodi really wanted Tian Tian back, she would definitely have to pay her back. However, Zhao Yun'er wasn't concerned about that little bit of silver. She just wanted to find a reason to refuse Su Zhaodi. Looking at Su Zhaodi's current state, she probably couldn't take out a few taels of silver. Sure enough, when Su Zhaodi heard Zhao Yun'er's words, she looked a little conflicted and embarrassed. Chapter 21-27. Zhao Yun'er coldly refused. No, if you want a child, you have to give me the money immediately. I don't accept credit here. Su Zhaodi frowned and looked at Tian Tian in her arms. She clenched her fists tightly for a moment. I'll go talk to my mother and ask her to lend me some money, Su Zhaodi said weakly. She really didn't want to let go of Tian Tian. But she knew that her husband's family didn't like her daughter, so it was unrealistic to ask them for money. Now, she could only ask her mother for help and ask her to lend her some money. As soon as Su Zhaodi finished speaking, Liang Jinfen scolded, "You wretched girl, really? What are you doing with this useless thing? Wasting a few taels of silver." Facing Liang Jinfen's sullen face, Su Zhaodi weakly replied, "Mother, just lend me a few taels of silver. I'll return it to you in the future. Tian Tian is my daughter. It would be better if I didn't see her, but now that I've seen her, I really can't bear to part with her. Mother, this is a child that I carried for several months after all. I can't bear to part with her." Facing Su Zhaodi's pitiful appearance, Liang Jinfen's heart didn't feel good, but he still said, all right, isn't it just a useless thing? You're treating her like a treasure. Zhaodi, let me tell you, I don't have much money on hand. Don't even think about it. Also, you have to understand, even if you get this useless thing back, what are you going to do? Bring her back to your husband's family? Will your husband's family agree to let you take this useless thing back? You can't even protect yourself, yet you're still thinking about this nonsense. Hurry up and return her to Yun'er. After Liang Jinfen's words, Su Zhaodi finally came to her senses. Liang Jinfen was right. Even if she got Tian Tian back, what could she do? Bring Tian Tian back to the Liang family? The Huang family wouldn't accept it at all. They were always looking forward to having a son. They already had several granddaughters, so the Huang family wouldn't raise another granddaughter. She was also a woman and did not have much ability. She relied on her in-laws to support her. She probably could not even support Tian Tian herself, let alone support Tian Tian. Thinking of this, Su Zhaodi felt an indescribable sense of defeat. She wanted to fight for her child, but reality was hitting her hard. While Su Zhaodi was in a daze, Liang Jinfen took Tian Tian out of Su Zhaodi's arms and handed her to Zhao Yun'er. Then, she lectured Su Zhaodi, "Don't think too much about it. Go back and take care of your body. Try to get pregnant again and give birth to a boy. Then, you'll have a good life in the Huang family. If you keep this money-losing girl by your side, she will only cause you trouble. Why don't you give her to Yun'er? Yun'er's family is rich. Tian Tian will have a good life with her. What do you give her if she follows you?" Su Zhaodi was so upset that she couldn't speak. What Liang Jinfen said was the truth, but she was unwilling to accept it. Tian Tian, who was back in Zhao Yun'er's arms, was very happy. She hugged Zhao Yun'er's cheek and nibbled on it. It was obvious that Tian Tian was closer to Zhao Yun'er. She treated Zhao Yun'er as her own mother. Looking at the past few days, Zhao Yun'er had raised a prematurely born and thin child to be white and chubby. It was obvious that Zhao Yun'er took good care of her. Her mother was right. Tiantian's best choice was to be raised by Zhao Yun'er. Chapter 21-28. Liang Jinfen was afraid that the longer Su Zhaodi stayed, the more reluctant she would be to leave. At that time, something would happen again. Naturally, he took Su Zhaodi away early. Anyway, she was full and had packed a lot of food. This meal was not a loss. "Mother," Su Zhaodi's eyes fell on Tian Tian. "Let's go." Liang Jinfen tugged at Su Zhaodi and dragged her away. Looking at Su Zhaodi's back as he left, Zhao Yun'er's heart was also upset. Tian Tian seemed to be fine. Because she was too young, she did not know that Su Zhaodi was her biological mother. What Zhao Yun was worried about now was that Su Zhaodi did not want Tian Tian this time. What about in the future? What if one day she had money and power? Would she take Tian Tian away from her? At that time, she and Tiantian's relationship would be deeper. Who would be willing to give the child they had raised for so many days to someone else? Mu Yinfeng seemed to see Zhao Yun'er's worry. He put his arm around Zhao Yun'er's shoulder and comforted her. "Yun'er, don't worry. As long as I'm here, no one can take Tian Tian away." Zhao Yun'er responded. Even if Mu Yinfeng was not here, she would not allow anyone to take Tian Tian away. She had worked so hard to raise her child. How could she give it to someone else? At noon, old Zhao's family had eaten and drank well together. They touched their stomachs and prepared to go home. Zhao Ping and the others were still busy in the restaurant. The popularity of the business was a little shocking. If the business could be as good as one-third of this in the future, the restaurant would make a lot of money. Old Zhao's family secretly envied Zhao Ping-er. In the future, they would definitely make a lot of money and their lives would be comfortable. When they went back, because it was late, the ox cart back to the village had already gone back. Old Zhao's family couldn't find an ox cart, so they wanted to hitch a ride on Zhao Yuner's horse and cart. It would be fine if there were only a few people, but with so many people, her Xiao Mao and the carriage wouldn't be able to carry them all. It was already crowded enough for the whole family to sit in the car, not to mention bringing in a few other people. In the face of old Zhao's family's request, Zhao Yuner angrily refused. My family's car is only so big. It can't seat many people. You can either walk back or rent a car for 30 copper coins. Don't even think about taking my car. 30 copper coins was neither too much nor too little. People from the countryside were more thrifty. They were reluctant to spend a single copper coin, let alone 30 copper coins. Of course, other than spending money. It was already noon, and the sun was blazing above their heads. It was extremely hot. If they were to return home, they would be oily from the heat. Their bodies wouldn't be able to take it at all. It was a bumpy ride back home. His butt hurt when he got home. If he were to sit in Zhao Yuner's car, it would be different. He would be able to get home quickly, and it would be much more comfortable. Liang Jinfen came over and smiled embarrassedly. With a hint of flattery, he said to Zhao Yuner, "Yuner girl, it's inconvenient for my pan, to bring Yang. Why don't you bring my Yang and pan, 2 more people won't make a difference." When Shen Pan, heard this, she also wanted to go back with Zhao Yuner. After all, she was usually spoiled and rarely took the ox cart when she went out. Chapter 21-29. Many people in the countryside didn't pay attention to hygiene, or they didn't use perfume when bathing. In this hot summer, the smell on the body couldn't be removed. After a long time, the unpleasant smell would remain on the body. Shen Pan usually liked to be clean, so when she smelled that smell, she would want to vomit. If she had to sit in the ox cart and squeeze with so many people, she wouldn't be able to stand the smell on the body. It was different if she could sit in Zhao Yuner's carriage. The carriage was spacious and comfortable. She wouldn't be too tired if she sat in Zhao Yuner's carriage. They would reach home very quickly. She thought it was a small matter. Since Feng Zhangxia had asked, Zhao Yuner wouldn't refuse. Who knew that Hu Chunhua would interrupt? "Eldest wife, your younger sister isn't feeling well. But was injured so badly just now. She can't stand the bumpiness of the ox cart. If she gets bumpy again, the injury on her will be very serious. It will be very difficult to treat." After Hu Chunhua finished speaking, Zhao Xinhui very cooperatively touched her butt and shouted a few times, Yes, sister-in-law, my butt hurts. Pen doesn't have any injuries on her body, so I can just hold her in my arms. Yuner's carriage can't seat so many people, so it's better to give this seat to me." After Zhao Xinhui finished speaking, Shen Pan's face darkened. She wasn't very happy. Ever since she came to old Zhao's house, Zhao Xinhui had basically taken all the good things in the house first. The others could only let him have it. If they didn't comply, Hu Chunhua would scold them. "Grandmother, but Yang is still young. He rarely sat in the ox cart. He made a lot of noise. He only stopped making noise when he sat in the carriage. Younger aunt is an adult. Just bear with it. Yang is still a child. It's hard to coax him when he's willful." Shen Pan said with a conflicted expression. Unlike the other people in old Zhao's house, Shen Pan would fight for many things herself. No matter what benefits he obtained, he couldn't just give it to others and suffer. What she meant was that Zhao Xinhui was an adult. Since he was an adult, he should be sensible and not be calculative with a child. Hu Chunhua pulled a long face. If he can't be coaxed, then let him cry for a while. Although he's a child, we can't let him do whatever he wants. Your aunt's injury is the most important thing. Hu Chunhua's tone was very strong. If they disobeyed him, he would be furious. Shen Pan felt even more uncomfortable. Just as she was about to say something, Zhao Yuner jumped out and said, "You don't need to discuss who will get on my carriage. I won't bring anyone. You should all squeeze in the bullock cart and go back together." "Yuner girl, Why are you so stingy? Isn't it just an ox cart? You won't let me? Can't you see that your younger aunt's injury is so serious? Will you only be happy when her butt is broken on the bullock cart? Hu Chunhua jumped out and reprimanded her unhappily. He glared fiercely at Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner only found it funny. He curled his lips and replied to Hu Chunhua, "Grandmother, I think you're here to be funny, right? Have you forgotten how younger aunts but got injured? If you didn't provoke me, would it have become like this? Now you're reaping the consequences of your own actions. You still want to take my family's ox cart back." Chapter 21:30. Hearing Zhao Yuner's words, Zhao Xinhui and Hu Chunhua both turned pale in anger. Hu Chunhua pointed at Zhao Yuner. You're too cruel." Zhao Yuner smiled and asked back, "Grandma, don't you know best whether I'm cruel or not? You haven't seen what I can do before, and you haven't suffered in my hands before." Being stared at by Zhao Yuner coldly, Hu Chunhua couldn't help trembling for a moment. How could she forget? She wasn't afraid of Zhao Yuner at all. This wicked girl was capable of doing anything when she wanted to. She even dared to splash feces on people's faces. However, every time she suffered, she would remember it for a few days. The next time she met Zhao Yuner, she would be mad at Zhao Yuner again. Knowing that she couldn't offend Zhao Yuner, Hu Chunhua turned to look at Liang Jinxiao and criticized Liang Jinxiao. "Jinxiao, look at your daughter. She's getting more and more capable now. She doesn't care about her elders at all. How can a daughter talk to her elders like that?" Liang Jinxiao pursed her lips and said, "Mother, Yuner is grown up now. She has her own thoughts, ideas, and plans when doing things. Even as her mother, I shouldn't meddle too much." Fine. Hu Chunhua was even angrier when she failed to win a verbal argument with Liang Jinxiao. Zhao Yuner was amused when she heard that. It seemed that her mother was becoming more and more enlightened under her education. If it was in the past, Liang Jinxiao would never say such words. "Grandma, don't say that my mother didn't teach me well. If you have time, you should teach my aunt more. Compared with my aunt, I'm nothing." Zhao Yuner replied calmly. Zhao Xinhui clenched her teeth in anger. She glared at Zhao Yuner and shouted, "Zhao Yuner, you bitch. What do you mean? Aunt, don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying what I mean on the surface. You bitch, I don't need to be taught. You're the one who needs to be taught a lesson." Zhao Yuner retorted, "It's still better than being shameless like you, auntie." Zhao Xinhui couldn't win a verbal argument against Zhao Yuner. Zhao Xinhui was so angry that she wanted to rush to Zhao Yuner and slap Zhao Yuner several times. However, before she could do it, Mu Yinfen glared at her and stopped her. She really forgot the pain after the scar healed. The injury on her but was caused by Mu Yinfen. If she provoked Zhao Yuner now, wouldn't she be asking for trouble? "Mom." Zhao Xinhui looked at Hu Chunhua pitifully. She wanted Hu Chunhua to teach Zhao Yuner a lesson. Hu Chunhua wasn't a fool. She knew that Zhao Yuner wasn't easy to mess with. Although her daughter was wronged, she couldn't blame her. She could only say, "All right, Huir, don't argue with someone. It's fine that she doesn't want to take you with her. Let's not care about it either. Otherwise, we'll be caught by her and be angry." "But Mom, I don't want to take the ox cart back. It's so bumpy and so slow." Hu Chunhua patted Zhao Xinhui's shoulder and comforted her. We have a lot of money now anyway. I can rent a carriage for you." Zhao Xinhui rolled her eyes. Why didn't she think of that? It was just a matter of spending a little more money. She still had a lot of money in her hands. In the future, the restaurant in Qinyuan would definitely make a lot of money. Since she didn't lack money, she didn't need to care about how much money she spent. Chapter 21:31. Zhao Yuner sneered. This pair of mother and daughter were really childish. She had never thought of competing with them in these matters. However, it was also good that she rented a carriage to go back. It would save her the trouble of keeping an eye on her family. When Feng Zhangxia heard this, her eyes lit up. She had an idea in her heart. She giggled as she moved in front of Hu Chunhua and said to Hu Chunhua, "Mother, you want to rent a carriage? This carriage can fit a lot of people. Why don't you bring Pan, and Yang Yang back with you? Zhao Xinhui glanced at Feng Zhangxia. Thinking of what Shen Pan said just now, she snorted and replied, "No, no, I won't bring a single person. It's just me, father, and mother. It won't be crowded with so many people in the carriage." Hua Chunhua was once again obedient to her daughter. "Then it'll be just the three of us. It's rare for us to be able to ride a carriage, so we should enjoy it. It's not good to have so many people." Feng Zhangxia and Shun Pan, Er's expressions were a bit ugly. In their hearts, they were cursing Zhao Xinhui for being stingy. However, it was Zhao Xinhui who paid for it. If she didn't let them, they couldn't rely on her. When Shun Pan, thought of riding the ox carriage back, her head hurt. Zhao Yin'er didn't pay attention to those people. She called for the family to get on the carriage and left. The carriage and little Mao were very fast. They arrived at their home in a short while. Nothing much happened in the following days. Their lives were more or less the same every day, but it was a very comfortable life. After a heavy rain, the weather cooled down a bit and they passed the hottest part of the day. However, it was time to harvest rice. Nowadays, most of the villagers planted early and mid-season rice, which was harvested during summer and autumn. Because there was a lot of rain today, the weather wasn't very good. The rice was soaked in water for a long time and didn't grow very well. The harvest of 1 mu of farmland was at least 30% less than last year. This kind of result was quite serious for the farmers. Because farmers basically planted their own rations, a decrease in the harvest meant that the family didn't have enough rations. The rations that they planted weren't enough to eat. Once the rations shrank, it meant that the family would have to be frugal with their rations for the next year. I'm afraid that this year has been rather difficult for everyone. If it weren't for Zhao Yin'er, the family wouldn't have so much money and the third branch would have had a hard time this year. Now that they had money, they could afford to buy food even if the price of food increased. From time to time, they could eat some meat. There was no lack of meat and fish at home. Even so, Zhao Wenhua often sighed at home about how bad the harvest was and how hard it was to live. Zhao Wenhua wasn't talking about his own family. He was worried about old Zhao's other brothers. He was most concerned about Zhao Wentao. Zhao Wentao had a good relationship with the third branch, and he often helped the third branch. The third branch and Zhao Wenhua were closer. Now that it was time for the grain harvest, the fourth branch's harvest was insufficient, and they had to feed their children. She was afraid that their days would be more difficult. Seeing Zhao Wenhua's anxious appearance, Zhao Yun comforted Zhao Wenhua. With her around, if the fourth branch really couldn't survive, they could naturally reach out to help. The fourth branch didn't accept the benefits given by the third branch for free, but they could find something for the fourth branch to do and pay them. After hearing Zhao Yun's words, Zhao Wenhua's worries were relieved. Chapter 2132. Mu Yinfeng was free these days, so Mo Yin alone could take care of the work on the mountain. Seeing that all the men in his family were working in the fields while he did nothing at home, Mu Yinfeng felt embarrassed. When they were having dinner that night, he said, "Can I go harvest rice with you tomorrow? I have nothing to do at home anyway. With more hands, we can finish harvesting the rice sooner." Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao, who were having dinner at the table, paused for a second and hurriedly said, "Prince Mu, how can we trouble you with this kind of rough work in the countryside? In fact, there are only a few acres of land left to harvest. You don't need to do it." "Yes, Prince Mu, what you do every day is important. The rough work in the countryside is not for you to do. You can stay at home with Yin'er. If you feel bored, you can ask Yin'er to accompany you. Yes, we can handle the work in the fields. You really don't need to get involved." Mu Yinfeng felt a little helpless. He just mentioned it, but Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao rejected him so straightforwardly. Did it mean that he really didn't have a chance? "Uncle, Aunt, I can do it. As long as you teach me a little, I should be able to do it. Every day, Uncle and Tian'an come home covered in sweat. I can't just sit at home and do nothing. If I do, I will feel guilty." Mu Yinfeng couldn't help but argue. Zhao Wenhua still refused. "Prince Mu, it's really not necessary. This kind of rough work is not for someone of your status. If you insist on working in the fields, it will be too much for us." Mu Lianfeng sighed. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao had always called him Prince Mu. Although he would be their son-in-law in the future, because of his status, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao didn't dare to overstep their boundaries. Of course, Mu Lianfeng knew very well that this era was like this. The hierarchy was strict, and no one dared to overstep the nobles. At this moment, Mu Lianfeng wished that he was just an ordinary person without the title of heir apparent. That way, he would be able to interact with Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao like an ordinary son-in-law and his in-laws. Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yun'er, hoping that Zhao Yun'er would help him. Zhao Yun'er laughed and said, "Do you think it's so easy to harvest rice? It's easy to get tanned after a whole day under the sun. Look at how tan my father and Tian'en are. Aren't you afraid of getting tanned?" As soon as Zhao Yun'er finished speaking, Zhao Tian'en cooperatively stretched out his arm and said to Mu Lianfeng, "Yes, brother-in-law, I got tanned after a day under the sun. You can tell by looking at my arm. I don't know how long it will take for it to become white after being tanned like this." Mu Lianfeng didn't care and said, "It's nothing. It's just a little tanned. It's not a big deal for a man to be a little tanned. It's not a big deal." Zhao Yun'er said, "That won't do." "Yun'er, why?" Mu Lianfeng asked in confusion. "You won't be as handsome when you're tanned. You look better when you're white. Haven't you heard of a saying? A white skin can hide 100 ugliness. It's better to be whiter." Chapter 21:33. Zhao Yun'er chuckled and said to Mu Lianfeng, "Being handsome is your advantage. If you're handsome, it'll be easier for me to fall in love with you. If you get tanned, aren't you afraid that I'll fall in love with someone who's more handsome than you?" Zhao Yun'er was obviously joking, but Mu Lianfeng turned to look at Yi Li, who was eating beside him. In terms of appearance, Yi Li was also very beautiful and was comparable to him. However, if he got tanned, he definitely wouldn't be as handsome as Yi Li. Unfortunately, Yi Li lived in Zhao Yun'er's house, so they often saw each other. It was said that love grows with time. If Yi Li was more handsome than him, it was possible that Zhao Yun'er would fall in love with him. Yi Li felt a burning gaze falling on him. As a result, he raised his head and met Mu Lianfeng's eyes. They were both men. Yi Li sensed the hostility from Mu Lianfeng's eyes. He choked on his food and couldn't help coughing. In order to get rid of Mu Lianfeng's suspicion of him, Yi Li looked to Zhao Yun'er and begged Zhao Yun'er in a weak voice, "Miss Yun'er, please don't tease His Highness. I'm afraid that I'll be beaten by him." Although he was good at kung fu and was confident that he could defeat Mu Lianfeng, no one wanted to cause trouble for him. In particular, a man was very likely to risk his life for the woman he liked. "Ha ha!" Zhao Yun'er laughed, then said to Mu Lianfeng, "I'm just kidding. My father and Tian'en often do it, so they're used to it. However, you're different. You've never done this kind of work before, so you're not used to it." Mu Lianfeng originally wanted to say that he could endure it, but Zhao Yun'er stopped him. "Of course, I don't want you to do this kind of work because I care about you. Can you bear to make me sad?" Hearing Zhao Yun'er's words and looking at the faint smile on Zhao Yun'er's face, Mu Lianfeng's heart was as sweet as honey. He didn't insist this time and said to Zhao Yun'er, "Yun'er, I won't work in the field then." Zhao Yun'er smiled and replied, "Good boy. If you feel bored, you can play with Daodu at home. You can also help me take care of Tian." "Sure," Mu Lianfeng answered. Yi Li looked at Mu Lianfeng and Zhao Yun'er's eyes. When they looked at each other, their eyes were like stars. They only had each other in their eyes. Yi Li's heart ached. After all, as a man, he didn't want the woman he liked to be sweet with another man. Even though he often told himself that it would be fine as long as Zhao Yun'er was happy, he still couldn't control himself many times. Just like now, he couldn't control his heartache. Originally, he ate the table full of delicious food that Zhao Yun'er made for him very happily. Now, he couldn't taste anything. Instead, there was a bitter feeling spreading in his mouth. On the other side, in old Zhao's courtyard, old Zhao's several branches also came back from heaven and earth exhausted. The first branch's family had Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu to harvest the fields. There weren't many people, so the harvesting speed was slower. The fourth branch only had Zhao Wentao, so the harvesting was even slower and more difficult. Now, every family was busy harvesting their own rice, not to mention that they were reluctant to spend money. Even if they were willing to spend money, it was difficult to hire someone to help harvest. When Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu came back from the fields, they were covered in sweat. Chapter 21:34. When Feng Zhangxia saw Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu enter the courtyard, she called out to them, "Hurry up and wipe your bodies. Once you're done, we can prepare to eat." Zhao Wenshi sniffed and asked, "I smell that today's food smells particularly good. Why is that?" Feng Zhangxia said, "Today's food was cooked by Zhu." Zhao Wenshi was pleasantly surprised and asked, "So was Zhu, or who cooked it?" "It's really good. It smells good." Zhu was a little embarrassed by Zhao Wenshi's praise. She smiled shyly and replied, "Father, you're too kind. We'll know if it's good or not after eating it." Zhao Wenshi replied without hesitation, "It's good, it's good. It's definitely good." Feng Zhangxia also praised, "It's really good. I didn't know that Zhu was so good at cooking before, so I didn't let her cook. Today, I tried it for the first time. I didn't expect her to show off her skills. Her cooking is much better than mine. Our family also has someone who can cook. We'll have a good meal in the future." Zhu lowered her head and greeted them with a smile. "Father, hurry up and wash up. Once you're done, we can eat." "Okay," Zhao Wenshi answered happily. Zhao Tianhu glanced at his wife from the side, and a sweet smile appeared on his face. Hearing his parents praise his wife, a sense of pride emerged in his heart. It was good to have a wife. At this moment, he was also a little impatient to try his wife's cooking. Shun Pan was sitting in the courtyard with Zhao Yangyang. When she heard Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi's words, she felt very uncomfortable. Ever since she married into the family, Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi often praised Zhu, but they rarely praised her. In the past, they would think of her whenever there was something good. Now, they only thought of Zhu. Although she didn't care for some things, she still felt uncomfortable when faced with this situation. Looking at the smile on Zhu's face, Shun Pan felt like it was an eyesore. Zhao Wenshi carried a bucket of water to the courtyard. Together with Zhao Tianhu, they took off their clothes and wiped their upper bodies with a cloth to wipe off the sweat on their bodies. They were only temporarily wiping themselves off so that they could eat. They didn't want their stinky sweat to dirty the food. After eating, they would have to take a bath again. The two men were shirtless, especially Zhao Tianhu, whose muscles were exposed. He had a good figure. Although his skin was a little dark, his muscles gave off a sense of strength. Women with such a good figure couldn't help but sigh when they saw it. That was because Zhu was Zhao Tianhu's husband. Zhu had seen Zhao Tianhu's entire body, let alone him being topless. Therefore, she looked at him generously without much embarrassment. But Shun Pan was different. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu were shirtless and wiping themselves off in the courtyard. She was also in the courtyard, so she couldn't help but accidentally see it. Zhao Tianhu's firm chest and strong arms were deeply imprinted in Shun Pan's mind. Shun Pan's face turned slightly red, and she hurriedly looked away. Unlike Zhao Tianlong, Zhao Tianhu often worked in the fields. When he had the chance, he would go to Haiyang City in town to help earn money. He worked a lot, so he wasn't like Zhao Tianlong. He looked gentle and weak, but Zhao Tianhu's figure was clearly one with strength. Chapter 21:35. Zhao Tianlong's body was relatively weak, so he could only last for a few minutes. Every time they did it, Shun Pan would feel that Zhao Tianlong had already finished before she could satisfy him. Every time it ended, Shun Pan would feel a little lonely. If only Zhao Tianlong could be half as good as Zhao Tianhu in that aspect. Thinking about this, Shun Pan remembered that Zhao Tianlong had not returned for a long time after he went to the capital to study. It was equivalent to her staying alone in the house for a long time. As a woman, sometimes she couldn't help but hope that her man would play with her. In the past, it was fine when she was inexperienced, but after experiencing it and knowing how comfortable it was, she felt uncomfortable after not doing it for a while. On the other hand, because Jinju could be with Zhao Tianhu every day, she could do it with Zhao Tianhu every day. In this aspect, Shun Pan was very envious of Jinju. Just as she was thinking about these messy things, a mocking voice came from the courtyard. It was Zhao Xinhui. However, Zhao Xinhui wasn't targeting her, but Jinju. How shameless. You clearly saw my elder brother and Tianhu naked, yet you still looked. Your eyes can't even leave Tianhu's body. Don't you know how to restrain yourself? Why did our old Zhao family marry such a slutty woman? Zhao Xinhui's voice was very sharp and loud, as if she was afraid that others wouldn't hear her. Zhao Xinhui did this because she wanted Jinju to have a bad reputation and be called a slut by the villagers. She was so picky because she didn't like Jinju. After being scolded by Zhao Xinhui, Jinju lowered her head and looked very sad. She was used to being scolded by Zhou Damei in the Jin family. Basically, when others said that she was bullied, she wouldn't talk back. This time was the same. After Zhao Xinhui scolded her like this, although she felt wronged, she thought that Zhao Xinhui was an elder. If she talked back, she would definitely be scolded. Shun Pan'er and Zhao Yangyang were watching the show from the side. Seeing Jinju's red face, Shun Pan'er couldn't help but feel a burst of joy in her heart. Zhao Tianhu frowned. Seeing that his wife was wronged, he was immediately unhappy. He helped Jinju to reply, "Aunt, what you said is wrong." "What's wrong? Are you siding with this slut?" Zhao Xinhui asked angrily. "Auntie, Zhu is my wife. What's wrong with looking at my body? Even if I strip naked for her to see, it's fine. How is that shameless?" Zhao Tianhu's words were full of protection. Zhao Xinhui was so angry that his face darkened. Then he said, "All right, Tianhu, it seems like you really dote on your wife. However, this Jinju is a slut. Even if you protect her, it's useless." Zhao Tianhu was also a little angry at Zhao Xinhui. Jinju was his wife. How could he let his wife be insulted like this? He replied angrily, "Auntie, you said that Zhu is a slut. She didn't even blink when looking at my naked body. What about you? Aren't you looking at me for a long time now?" Zhao Xinhui glanced at Zhao Tianhu and said indifferently, "What's wrong with that? I'm your elder. So what if I look at you? I even saw you bathing naked when you were young." Chapter 21:36. Feng Zhangxia couldn't stand Zhao Xinhui meddling in other people's business and targeting Jinju, so she stood out and sneered, "That's right, little sister. You're shameless. What's wrong with my family's Jew looking at her own man's body? It's not like she's looking at another man's body." Once Feng Zhangxia mentioned Lord Huang, Zhao Xinhui was displeased. It was because of young Master Huang that she had become the laughingstock of the village. Feng Zhangxia was obviously doing it on purpose. "You," Zhao Xinhui pointed at Feng Zhangxia in anger. How could her sister-in-law say such things to her? "Little sister, don't look for trouble. How did my Jew offend you? Why do you have to hold on to her and not let her go? You're only happy when you bully her." Feng Zhangxia grumbled unhappily. "Aunt, next time, you have to look at yourself. You can't be unreasonable just because you're an elder," Zhao Tianhu said seriously. Jinju stood there trembling. She was very happy to see her man and mother-in-law protecting her like this. She felt a little wronged at first, but after hearing Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Tianhu's words, the grievances in her heart were diluted. When Zhao Xinhui was about to lose her temper, Zhao Baoshan came back from his work in the field. Seeing that the whole family was quarreling, Zhao Xinhui knew who was the one who started it. Zhao Baoshan knew his daughter very well. Zhao Tianhu was an honest man, but he still had a conflict with Zhao Xinhui. It wasn't hard to imagine what Zhao Xinhui had said and done. Zhao Baoshan scolded Zhao Xinhui. "Do you have nothing better to do? You won't be happy if you don't anger people. Hurry up and go back to your room." "Father," Zhao Xinhui wanted to complain, but Zhao Baoshan glared at her fiercely. Zhao Xinhui was frightened by his fierce look. Zhao Xinhui swallowed the words she wanted to say. She turned around angrily and went back to her room. Feng Zhangxia said to Zhao Baoshan, "Father, luckily you're here. Otherwise, Zhu'er would bully us again." Zhao Baoshan sighed helplessly. "Hey, don't argue with that girl. She's used to being willful." "Father, we don't want to argue with her, but she keeps causing trouble for no reason. We don't like it. She shouldn't do that. Please forgive her. I'll help her scold her when I see her." Since Zhao Baoshan said that, Feng Zhangxia didn't complain anymore. Even though she disliked Zhao Xinhui, she wasn't soft-bun. She had to fight back when she needed to. She couldn't let Zhao Xinhui bully others. If it was in the past, Zhao Xinhui could still give in since she had young Master Huang as her backer. After all, she would be able to reap some benefits. But now that Zhao Xinhui was divorced by young Master Huang, it was impossible for her to reap any benefits like before. Zhao Baoshan sat on a stool in the courtyard and wiped the sweat off his forehead. He had gone to harvest rice as well. He had a few mu of land in his hands, and the grain he planted was enough for him to eat. However, because he had separated from the main family, he had to do the work himself. He couldn't count on his son who had separated from the main family. Chapter 21:37. Zhao Baoshan felt a little depressed at the thought that there was still a lot of rice to be harvested. Seeing that Zhao Wenshi had just finished bathing, Zhao Baoshan asked casually, "Boss, how's the harvesting of the rice in your family's fields?" Zhao Wenshi replied, "Tianhu and I harvested a little faster, so we've already harvested half of the rice." Zhao Baoshan nodded. The two of them were indeed a little faster, so they had already harvested half of the rice. His old body and speed were a little slower than Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu. Ahem. Zhao Baoshan coughed violently. Zhao Wenshi hurried forward and asked, "Dad, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" "I don't know why, but my chest feels stuffy. I've been feeling a little uncomfortable these days," Zhao Baoshan said honestly. Zhao Wenshi frowned and tried to persuade him, "Dad, if you're not feeling well, you should rest for a few days. Don't harvest rice in the fields these days." Zhao Baoshan shook his head. "How can I do that? If the weather changes one day, the rice will be soaked by the rain. It's safer to harvest it as soon as possible." "But Dad, you're not feeling well." After all, Zhao Baoshan was Zhao Wenshi's biological father. Zhao Wenshi wasn't very filial, but he still had a little conscience. Zhao Baoshan thought for a while, then discussed with Zhao Wenshi. "Boss, why don't you help me harvest the rest of the rice?" Without waiting for Zhao Baoshan to finish, Feng Zhangxia jumped out and unhappily replied, "Father, my Tianlong's father and Tianhu are also busy harvesting the rice at home. Where would they find the time to help you harvest?" Zhao Baoshan's face darkened. Since Feng Zhangxia said so, he didn't want to say the rest of his sentence. Zhao Wenshi was worried about Zhao Baoshan's health, so he said weakly, "Why don't I help you harvest the rice after Tianhu and I finish harvesting the rice at home?" Feng Zhangxia poked Zhao Wenshi with her elbow, then glared at Zhao Wenshi and said, "How can you be so free? You'll be exhausted after harvesting the rice at home, and you'll have to rest in bed for a long time. Do you have so much energy to harvest rice for others?" Zhao Wenshi suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He wanted to help Zhao Baoshan harvest the rice, but he was afraid that Feng Zhangxia would be angry. Besides, harvesting the rice was indeed very tiring, so he could only give up. Zhao Baoshan snorted softly. He was a little disappointed with the people from the first branch. When there was something good, they always wanted to take advantage of it, but when it came to this kind of thing, they kept rejecting it, afraid that they would be taken advantage of. At this time, Zhao Wentao walked over and overheard the conversation between Zhao Baoshan and Zhao Wenshi. He said, "Dad, there's not much rice left at home. I'll help you harvest it after I finish harvesting it." Zhao Baoshan's sight fell on Zhao Wentao. He praised Zhao Wentao in his heart. Among the few sons in the family, Zhao Baoshan's third and fourth son were very good. After going through these things, the comparison became more obvious. Chapter 21:38. After listening to Zhao Baoshan's words, Feng Zhangxiao was stunned. What did this old man say? Give all the rice harvested by Zhao Wentao to Zhao Wentao. There were a few acres of rice, and there were thousands of pounds of rice. It was worth a lot of money. How could he give so much rice to the fourth branch for free? They were all a family, and the first branch should at least get some of it, right? Feng Zhangxia asked with a pale face. Father, why did you give so much rice to fourth brother? Although Feng Zhangxia didn't say it clearly, Zhao Baoshan knew what Feng Zhangxia meant. Just now, when there was no benefit for the first branch to harvest the rice, the first branch refused. Now that there was benefit, they wanted it again. Zhao Baoshan snorted softly and replied, Just now, I wanted to ask your first branch to help me harvest the rice. I'll give you the rice, but you refused and said that you can't harvest it. So forget it. Now that fourth brother is willing to harvest the rice, I'll give all the rice to him. Hearing Zhao Baoshan's words, Feng Zhangxia felt a sudden pain in her heart. She was so stupid just now. Why didn't she listen to Zhao Baoshan and refuse? Now, she lost such a big piece of meat. Feng Zhangxia even wanted to die. However, for the sake of the rice, Feng Zhangxia still said shamelessly, Father, you didn't say it clearly. If you said it earlier, Tianlong's father would help harvest the rice even if he was a little tired. You didn't listen to me, and now you're blaming me. Forget it. Eldest brother is weak. After he finishes harvesting the rice, he can rest. I'll let fourth brother harvest the rice for me. Father, fourth brother definitely can't handle so much rice alone. Why don't we let Tianlong's father help us harvest the rice? Feng Zhangxia still insisted. She was unwilling to give up such a big advantage so easily. Zhao Baoshan glanced at Feng Zhangxia indifferently. All right. It's just a little rice. How can fourth brother be so busy? You guys were the ones who refused first. It's not that I didn't give you a chance. Now that I've said that I'll give it to fourth brother, your first branch should stop thinking about it. Zhao Baoshan's tone was very firm. Feng Zhangxia knew that there was no room for discussion. There was nothing he could do but feel regret in his heart. He could only watch helplessly as the great benefits were taken away by the fourth branch. Father, I can help you harvest this rice. You don't have to give it to me, Zhao Wentao said naively. Hundreds of thousands of caddies of grain were given to him for free, and he would feel embarrassed if he accepted it. Zhao Baoshan waved his hand. I said I'll give it to you, so I'll give it to you. Take it. Today's harvest wasn't good, and you have several children to feed. It's always good to have more food. Father, it's not a problem. I could do more work to earn money. You don't have to worry about me. Zhao Baoshan was a little unhappy. You child, really? I said I'll give it to you, so I'll give it to you. Why are you refusing? If you refuse again, I won't be happy. Looking at Zhao Baoshan's calm face, Zhao Wentao could only say, Father, that's fine. I'll take these rice. But later on, if you lack food, you can directly come to my place to get it. Zhao Baoshan responded. In his heart, he sighed. Fourth brother was much better than eldest brother. His words and actions made people feel more comfortable. It was definitely better to give these rice to the fourth branch than to the first branch. Chapter 2139. Zhao Wentao glanced at Feng Zhangxia's pale face. He knew that his sister-in-law was unhappy, so he sighed and didn't say anything more. In fact, he didn't want to take the grain from the several acres of land. After all, it was indeed a great advantage. However, Zhao Baoshan said so he had no choice but to follow Zhao Baoshan's decision. Feng Zhangxia's face was cold the whole time when the people of the first branch were having lunch together. She didn't want to show her face, but thought that it was a pity that she missed such a great advantage. The dishes on the table were delicious with Jin Ju as the cook, but Feng Zhangxia couldn't eat a single bite. She was upset, so no matter how delicious the food was, she couldn't eat it. Feng Zhangxia held her bowl and didn't move. She sighed deeply and said, Hey, what should we do now? The fourth branch earned a few acres of grain for nothing, and we didn't get a single penny. Alas! Seeing Feng Zhangxia's sad face, Zhao Wenshi sipped a glass of wine, then put down the glass. All right, we've already given the grain to the fourth branch. What else can we do? There's no medicine for regret, in this world. If you hadn't stopped me and let me harvest the grain for father, the grain in the several acres of land would have been ours. When Zhao Wenshi didn't say anything, Feng Zhangxia's heart ached even more. How would I know? If I knew that you wouldn't let me do it, I wouldn't have done it even if you begged me not to. Zhao Wenshi smiled and drank another glass of wine. So, sometimes, don't refuse to do it. The more you're afraid of losing, the more you'll lose. Look at our fourth brother. He's willing to lose. Didn't he make a profit this time? The corners of Feng Zhangxia's mouth twitched, and she said with displeasure, I know. Although she said that, Feng Zhangxia still didn't want to lose. Feng Zhangxia finished the meal a little gloomily. She washed up early and went to bed. Zhao Wentao and Zhao Baoshan chatted for a while. He could harvest the millet in the fourth branch's rice field by himself, and he could also help harvest the several mu of rice fields in Zhao Baoshan. However, Zhao Wentao discovered that the rice grains in the second branch's fields had not been touched yet. If they didn't harvest a few mu of rice, how could they just throw it away like that? Today's food prices were definitely expensive. A few mu of farmland would be worth a lot of money. However, Zhao Wenshi was still lying in bed after being injured last time. He had no intention of getting up, let alone harvesting the rice in the field. Father, it's time to harvest second brother's paddy fields. What should we do if second brother doesn't want to get up to harvest? Zhao Wentao asked Zhao Baoshan to see if Zhao Baoshan could come up with any ideas. Zhao Baoshan furrowed his brows and snorted softly. Of course he harvests his own paddy field. Could it be that he expects others to help him harvest? He has been recuperating in bed for so many days. In my opinion, he should have recovered enough to work in the field. Father, I'm afraid second brother won't be willing. If he wanted to harvest the rice, he would have gotten up long ago. If he delayed for a few more days and it rained, the rice grains would be wasted. Although second brother's paddy fields are not well managed and the harvest is not as good as other people's, at least he can harvest some food. He and Tianyu can have more food, so their lives will be better. Chapter 2140. Saying that, Zhao Baoshan dragged his tired body into the room of the second branch of his family. At this time, Zhao Wenshi didn't close the door tightly. Usually, no one would enter his room. After all, no one was willing to clean his room, so it smelled terrible. Zhao Baoshan, however, didn't have much strength at this time, so he walked slowly. His footsteps were very light, so no one heard him. When Zhao Baoshan entered the room, he found that Zhao Wenshi was covered with a sheet, but he didn't move at all. Obviously, he was doing something. Zhao Wenshi's movements continued to speed up. Suddenly, as if he had been released, he let out a comfortable sigh and his hands stopped moving. Seeing this scene, Zhao Baoshan's face immediately darkened. As a man, he didn't need to think to know what Zhao Wenshi was doing. Zhao Baoshan cursed Zhao Wenshi in his heart for being too wretched. He was already a few decades old, yet he was still hiding in the house doing this kind of thing. Moreover, he didn't close the door tightly when doing it. Luckily, it was him who came in. If it were his wives who came in at this time, he would be scared to death. When Zhao Wenshi finished, he found that the room was much brighter. He looked towards the door and saw Zhao Baoshan glaring at him with a long face. Zhao Wenshi was so scared that he trembled and asked in a trembling voice, Father, when did you come? Didn't you notice when I came in? Why are you so focused on your work? Thinking of what he had just done, Zhao Wenshi didn't dare to tell Zhao Baoshan. If he did, Zhao Baoshan would scold him to death. Seeing Zhao Baoshan's angry face, Zhao Wenshi complained in a low voice, Father, why didn't you tell me that you came in? You're so. Zhao Baoshan snorted coldly. What kind of shameful things are you doing at home that I have to knock on your door a few times? Zhao Wenshi felt guilty and didn't dare to respond to Zhao Baoshan anymore. He mumbled, Father, I was just joking. I'm here to talk business with you. Zhao Baoshan said with a serious face. He was too lazy to discipline Zhao Wenshi. Most importantly, he knew that Zhao Wenshi would not listen to him. Since he couldn't educate him well, why should he bother? Dad, what do you want to talk to me about? Zhao Wenshi asked. It's time to harvest the rice in your family's fields. Get up tomorrow and harvest the rice." Hearing that, Zhao Wenxue frowned and looked at Zhao Baoshan with embarrassment. "Father, I haven't recovered from my injury yet. How can I harvest the rice?" Zhao Wenxue didn't want to harvest the rice. In fact, he planned to ask his brothers to help him harvest the rice. Based on his understanding of Zhao Baoshan, his father would definitely not be willing to let the rice in the several mu of paddy field go to waste just like that. He would definitely think of a way to help him harvest the rice. In this way, he would be able to slack off and not have to exert himself. While Zhao Wenshui's wishful thinking was going well, Zhao Baoshan's face darkened as he scolded, "Your body is really precious. Haven't you recovered after recuperating for so long?" Zhao Wenxue trembled in fear, but he still murmured, "Father, I haven't recovered from my injury yet. I can't even exert my strength. How can I harvest the rice?" Chapter 2141. Zhao Wenxue blushed for a second. "Father, it's different. Why is it different? You have the strength to do dirty things, but you don't have the strength to work in the fields? You little brat, you only know how to bluff. Everyone knows that you're just trying to be lazy. Let me tell you, you can't waste the several acres of paddy fields in your family. You don't plant the paddy field yourself, but Lao San and Lao Si help you with the irrigation and weeding. Now that it's time to harvest, you have to do it yourself. You can't count on others, right?" Zhao Baoshan said with a serious face. If Zhao Wenxue refused, he would probably be scolded again. Zhao Wenxue lay in bed for a long time. He felt that he couldn't even get up to walk, let alone go out to work. If he finished harvesting the several acres of paddy fields by himself, he would probably have to lie in bed for 10 days to half a month. He might even die from exhaustion. Now, he was unwilling to do it. Zhao Wenxue rolled his eyes, thinking about what to do. After a few seconds of silence, Zhao Wenxue said in a weak voice, "Father, even if I recover, I can't harvest so much paddy fields by myself. Why don't you help me find some people, and I'll pay them to help me harvest?" Zhao Baoshan was still unwilling to do it. "Find people to harvest for you? Let's not talk about the fact that everyone is busy harvesting paddy fields in this season. Even if you can find some people, is it worth it to hire people to harvest for you, given the small harvest in your fields? Lao Er, I know that Jing got married and you saved some money. You still have some money left, but no matter how much money you have, you can't afford to waste it like this. If you go on like this, it will run out soon. Tianyu is still young. As a father, if you don't work harder, how can you raise Tianyu? Such a gluttonous and lazy person. I'm afraid he can't even feed himself." Zhao Baoshan said to Zhao Wenxue earnestly. He thought that Zhao Wenxue was an adult and should be sensible enough to listen to him. However, Zhao Wenxue replied, "Dad, don't worry about it. I'll go find Jing when I run out of money. I'm her father, and I helped her find such a good marriage. I'm really out of money, and I'm starving to death. Jing can't leave me alone, can she? With Jing here, I definitely won't live too badly. Father, you don't have to worry about this." When Zhao Baoshan heard Zhao Wenshue's words, he couldn't help but cough a few times. He was wondering why Zhao Wenxue wasn't worried at all, but it turned out that he had already made up his mind. Jing did marry into a rich family, but as a parent, he couldn't always shamelessly ask for money when his daughter got married. Could he? If the Zheng family knew about it, they would have a bad opinion of old Zhao's family. Zhao Baoshan was a man who cared about his reputation. He didn't want others to say that he was greedy for money. Zhao Wenxue, on the other hand, had really embarrassed him. How on earth did he give birth to such a gluttonous and lazy thing? The more Zhao Baoshan thought about it, the angrier he became and coughed more violently. "Dad, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well?" Zhao Wenxue asked with concern. Zhao Baoshan found that he couldn't talk to Zhao Wenxue now. He might be angered to death by Zhao Wenxue. Chapter 2142. Zhao Wenxue lay on the bed, feeling a little confused. He didn't say anything wrong. There was no need to worry. If he ran out of money, he could go to Zhao Jing. Anyway, He wouldn't starve to death. His father was just too considerate and looked for trouble. Zhao Baoshan coughed and came out of the room. Then he said to Zhao Wentao, Lao Si, go back and discuss with your eldest brother and third brother. Go and collect the rice in Lao Er's field and keep it for yourself. Don't give it to him. Father, does Lao Er not want it? Zhao Wentao asked with a frown. If he wants it, why hasn't he collected it yet? Zhao Wentao nodded. That's right. Father, we'll collect it for Lao Er later. After telling this matter, Hu Chanhua just finished cooking, so Zhao Baoshan went to eat. There were too many things to worry about at home. He was already so old. When would he be able to stop worrying so much? Maybe she worried too much. In the future, she should worry less about the affairs of the other branches, so that she wouldn't be worried and angry. The others in the first branch finished eating, washed up, and went back to their rooms to sleep. Jinju saw a layer of skin peeling off on Zhao Wenshui's arm. She hurried forward and asked, Husband, what happened to your arm? Zhao Tianhu grinned and said, It's nothing, my wife. It's just that I was exposed to the sun when I was harvesting rice outside, so my skin peeled off. It was the same in the past. After harvesting the rice, I'll just rest at home and be fine. Zhao Tianhu said it very lightly, because he didn't want Jinju to worry. Jinju frowned. It's painful to look at it. How can you say it's nothing? Looking at his wife's distressed eyes, Zhao Tianhu smiled more happily. His big white teeth were shining in the candlelight. Now that he had a wife, the feeling of being distressed was different. It was not like before, when no one cared about him, no matter how serious his injury was. Now, there was someone by his side all day long who cared about every little thing that happened to him. This feeling was really wonderful. Jinju looked up and saw that Zhao Tianhu was actually laughing. She muttered angrily, You're already like this, and you can still laugh. Is your brain damaged? Jinju said and gently punched Zhao Tianhu's chest with her fist. Zhao Tianhu grabbed Jinju's hand and grinned. Ju it feels so good to have you care about me. A blush appeared on Jinju's cheeks. She lowered her head and muttered, You are my husband. If I don't care about you, who do I care about? He, my wife. That's why I'm so happy. With your words, even if I suffer heavy injuries, it's worth it. Jinju glared at Zhao Tianhu. What nonsense are you talking about? Who would want to be seriously injured? Wife, I'm just saying. Zhao Tianhu smiled and his face was full of sweetness. Jinju sighed and felt that she had met a silly husband. Continuing to stare at the peeling skin on Zhao Tianhu's arm, Zhao Tianhu said, Husband, I'll go to Dr. Sun tomorrow to get you some ointment. You should feel better after applying it on your arm. Wife, there's no need. I'm really fine. If I go to Dr. Sun, I'll have to spend money. After a few days of rice harvest, I'll be fine after resting at home for a few days. Chapter 2143. In the next few days, everyone in the village was busy harvesting rice. Zhao Yin'er's family didn't have a lot of fields. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan were fast enough, so they finished harvesting the few mu of rice in her family's fields. This was because the fields were small. If the family had more fields, the two of them wouldn't be able to handle it. At that time, they would have to hire people. Now that she had saved a lot of money, Zhao Yin'er thought about buying more fields in the village. In ancient times, fields were the foundation. The annual grain harvest was also a large income. If the family didn't have enough hands, they could hire people to help them farm. Or they could save a lot of trouble and directly contract the fields to others after buying them. Although Zhao Yin'er had bought some fields before, it was already past the rice planting season. These fields could only be planted next year. This year's farm work was only a few mu of the family's fields, so they weren't too busy. After this busy period, he could start preparing to plant the tea leaves and build the pigsty. Because this season was very hot, and they had to go to the fields to harvest rice, Zhao Yin'er especially prepared some soups for the family to relieve the heat, such as ice sour plum soup and ice mung bean soup. Although it didn't cost much, it was a summer medicine for people who were exposed to the sun in the fields. Especially after being iced, it was very cool and very comfortable. Zhao Yin'er sent some of these things to her family, the fourth branch, and Mulan's family. After all, There were many people in the family. If she sent to everyone, it wouldn't be enough. Seeing that Zhao Yun'er's sour plum soup and mung bean soup were good, the first branch's people set their eyes on them and wanted to ask Zhao Yun'er to drink them. Zhao Yun'er had given them a few times for free. Seeing that the first branch's people continued to ask for more, Zhao Yun'er was a little unhappy. She gave them once or twice out of friendship, but she wasn't a fool. She wouldn't give them for free. After they formed a habit, not only would they not feel grateful, but they would feel that it was natural for her to give them. When Zhao Yun'er refused to give them more, Feng Zhangxia couldn't help but complain again. Yun'er, girl, anyway, you cooked a lot at home. We all like to drink it. What's wrong with you giving us a little? Feng Zhangxia nagged. Zhao Yun'er sneered and replied, Auntie, what you said is really funny. Don't you need the cost of cooking these things at home? Should I give it to you for free? I don't see your family give me any benefits. You make it sound like I should give it to you. Your family is rich, and I like money. Why don't you give me some money to spend? Feng Zhangxia was blushed for a moment by Zhao Yun'er's words. She didn't want to give it to her. She even deliberately ridiculed her. Jinju comforted from the side. Mother, Yun'er has given us many times. We can't ask for it every time she cooks it. No one gets their things for free. We should be grateful that Yun'er can give us so much. Now that she doesn't give it to us, we have nothing to complain about. Jinju's words were very reasonable, and Zhao Yun'er felt comfortable in her heart. If only Feng Zhangxia was so sensible. Birds of a feather flock together. Zhao Tianhu, an honest man, could marry a wife like Jinju. Zhao Yun'er nodded and smiled at Jinju, thanking her for speaking up. Jinju also smiled back. Chapter 2144. In this season, if they could have some ice sour plum soup and mung bean soup to drink, the men in the family would feel much better. If they didn't have it, the two men wouldn't be used to it. Feng Zhangxia curled her lips and said to Zhao Yun'er, Yun'er, what you said makes sense. We shouldn't take it for free. Why don't you sell it to me, and my family will pay for it? Your eldest uncle and second cousin brother work hard in the field. They will feel better after drinking your sour plum soup and mung bean soup. Zhao Yun'er wasn't a stingy person. For the sake of Zhao Tianhu, she agreed with Feng Zhangxia. Otherwise, she wouldn't care about the money she could get from selling it. After cooking a large pot of sour plum soup, Zhao Yun'er sent it to the first branch and other family members. Then she sent some to Mulan. The two of them went to the field together. There were still many families who hadn't finished harvesting the rice. Zhao Yun'er's family had finished harvesting their own rice, and now she was helping the second branch to harvest the rice. However, Mulan's family didn't have enough manpower because there was only Zhu Eru, so they hadn't finished harvesting the several acres of fields. Mulan's heart ached for Zhao Tianhu. However, there was a lot of housework at home. She also had to take care of the 3 children. She didn't have the time to work in the fields and help Zhao Tianhu harvest the wheat. When they arrived at the field, Zhao Yun'er saw that Zhu Eru's back was already soaked with sweat. Because he had been busy in the field these days, Zhu Eru's slightly tanned skin looked darker now. If he continued to be tanned, he would have the potential to be a lawyer, just like an African aborigine. Of course, Zhao Tianhu wasn't the only one like this. In this season, people who harvested rice in the field would be tanned. Mulan held the iced sour plum soup in her hand and shouted at Zhu Eru, who was busy working in the field not far away. Husband, I brought you the sour plum soup. Come and drink it. Take a rest. Zhu Eru heard the sound and straightened up. After seeing Mulan, he walked towards Mulan and Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er and Mulan were under the shade of a tree. With the shade of the tree, it was slightly cooler. When Zhu Eru came over, he was covered in sweat. After sitting down, he took a deep breath. Mulan poured a bowl of sour plum soup and handed it to Zhu Eru. Zhu Eru gulped it down in a few mouthfuls. Comfortable, Zhu Eru sighed and wiped his sweat with his sleeve. Mulan smiled and said, This is all thanks to Yun'er. If it weren't for Yun'er, we wouldn't be able to drink such a delicious sour plum soup. Zhu Eru nodded in response. That's right, it's all thanks to Miss Yun'er. This thing can't be bought with money. Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, You're welcome. I just cooked a little more. Haha, it's cold. After a bowl of it, I immediately feel refreshed. Zhu Eru said, and poured another big bowl into his stomach. The corner of his mouth showed a satisfied smile. Husband, do you have a back pain again? Mulan saw Zhu Eru's back and asked with concern. Zhu Eru smiled as if nothing happened and said, a little. It doesn't matter. Mulan curled her lips and said, every night when you sleep, you cry out in pain. How can you say it's nothing? Let me give you a massage. It will be more comfortable after a massage. As Mulan spoke, she reached out her hand to give Zhu Eru a massage. Chapter 2145. When harvesting rice, Zhu Eru had to bend his back all the time. In addition, Zhu Eru's waist was injured before, so it was very painful now. Seeing Mulan's hand reaching over, Zhu Eru grabbed her hand and said, I'm fine. You don't have to rub my back. My back is sweaty now. Even if I take off my clothes, water will come out. If you rub my back, you'll get your hands dirty. Mulan muttered unhappily, honey, I won't dislike you. If your hands are dirty, you can wash them when you go back. Zhu Eru smiled helplessly. I really don't need to. I'll be fine after resting for a while. If you want to rub my back, you can do it when we go back. Lie in bed at night and rub my back well. Mulan's face flushed slightly, and then she muttered, okay, I'll rub your back when we go back. But since your back is so painful, you shouldn't do it at night. You're still thinking about doing it when you're in such a bad condition. Hearing Mulan's words, Zhao Yun'er couldn't help coughing a few times and said to Mulan, Sister Mulan, I'm still here. You should mind your words. Don't talk about it. Don't be shy. Zhao Yun'er's words were just teasing. Only people who had a good relationship with each other would talk about it so unscrupulously in front of each other. Zhu Eru's face also flushed, and he said embarrassedly, Yun'er is right. You should be careful when you're outside. Others will laugh at you if they hear it. Mulan replied carelessly, it's not like I haven't talked about it with Yun'er. Why should I be shy? Zhao Yun'er was amused by Mulan. Now that Mulan was with her, she became more and more thick-skinned. Even when talking about this kind of thing, she could still laugh and talk with her. When she first met Mulan, Mulan was very shy. She was definitely too shy to talk about this kind of thing. They chatted for a while, and Zhu Eru also showed a simple and honest smile on his face. Looking at Zhu Eru's posture, Lin Mingyao's back was aching. The speed of harvesting rice would probably be slower, and she didn't know when the remaining fields would be finished. Lin Mingyao's family's fields were finished. Zhao Wenshui's hands were busy, so they would definitely be harvested faster. Zhu Eru's family's fields. Zhao Yun'er's family's fields. Mu's family's fields. S fields could be harvested earlier's family's fields' fields. How can you help my family's harvesting? Use family's rice. In this weather is a piece one's family's rice. In this weather, it's already hard enough. It is at time. If it was a simple job, it would be fine. The problem was that it wasn't a simple job. It wasn't good to trouble others in such a hot weather. Knowing that Mulan was embarrassed, Zhao Yun'er smiled. Sister Mulan, you don't have to be so polite with my family. After Tian'an marries Mu Hin, you'll be my in-law. In the future, you'll be Tian'an's older sister, and Eru will be Tian'an's brother-in-law. As his brother-in-law, now that he's here to help, shouldn't he be ordered around? It's not good. Sister Mulan, don't tell me you still don't treat Tian'an as your family? Mulan hurriedly waved her hand. Of course not. Chapter 2146. Hearing that, Mulan thought of Zhu Eru's back, so she didn't refuse. Thinking of her relationship with Zhao Yun, she didn't need to be too pretentious. Since Zhao Yun'er was willing to help, it meant that she really wanted to help. She didn't need to be pretentious and refuse. Okay, thank you so much, Tian'an. It's fine. While they were talking, they heard a miserable cry. Then they saw a familiar figure running towards Mulan's family's field. The figure who was crying and running at the same time was Mrs. Zhu. When Mrs. Zhu ran to the three of them, they saw that Mrs. Zhu's face was covered with sweat beads. Her face was pale, and it was obvious that she was frightened. After old Madame Zhu stopped, she gasped for breath and then looked at Zhu Eru. Zhu Eru furrowed his brows and asked, "Mother, what's wrong with you? Why are you in such a hurry?" Eru, Mrs. Zhu was a little out of breath and felt very uncomfortable. Zhu Eru frowned more deeply. "Mom, what's wrong? Take your time. Don't worry." She was out of breath, as if something serious had happened. However, seeing Mrs. Zhu's anxious look, at least he knew that it must be something serious. Mrs. Zhu covered her chest and panted heavily. "Eru, your eldest brother fainted. He fainted in the field now." Hearing that, Zhao Eru asked with concern, "Mom, what's wrong with him? Why did he faint all of a sudden?" Although there had been a lot of conflicts with the first branch before, Zhu Dainiu and Zhu Dainiu were biological brothers after all. If something really happened to Zhu Dainiu, he couldn't help but feel a little anxious. There were still several children in the first branch. His mother and his third younger brother relied on Zhu Dainiu. If something happened to Zhu Dainiu, his good life would be affected. Old Madame Zhu shook her head and said, "I don't know. Your eldest brother is fine. He fainted while he was working. At this moment, everyone is busy with their own things and can't find anyone to help. Nyan can only find you. Hurry up and carry your eldest brother back home. Then, find Dr. Sun for him to take a look." Hearing that, Zhu Eru didn't think too much. He said to Mrs. Zhu, "Mom, let's go." Okay. Mulan followed them curiously. She wanted to know what had happened to Zhu Dainiu. Zhao Yin accompanied Mulan to join in the fun. On the way, Mrs. Zhu was out of breath. She ran in a hurry just now. Now she only felt that her legs were sore and weak. She called out to Mulan, who was beside her, second brother's wife, "I can't walk anymore. Hurry up and carry me." Zhao Yun's mouth twitched. She glanced at Mrs. Zhu and was impressed by this old woman. Mulan was a little embarrassed to refuse, so Zhao Yun said for her, "Auntie Family Zhu, are you kidding? You're so fat and heavy. Mulan is so thin and dry. Aren't you afraid that you'll be crushed to death if she carries you on her back? Before you ask someone to carry you, you should at least consider your own weight. Aren't you asking for too much?" The meaning of Zhao Yun's words was to ridicule old Madame Zhu for being shameless and fat. Chapter 21:47. Mrs. Zhu's face suddenly darkened, and her resentful eyes fell on Zhao Yun. "You be *TH, I didn't ask you to carry me. Why are you meddling in other people's business?" Zhao Yun smiled. "I just think it's funny, and I can't stand it. And I do like to meddle in other people's business, and I like to tell the truth." "You." Mrs. Zhu put one hand on her waist and pointed at Zhao Yun angrily. Zhao Yun sneered. "Aunt, do you think there's something wrong with what I said? Are you not fat? Or do you really think that sister-in-law Mulan can carry you on her back?" "Who said that Mulan can't carry me on her back? Second daughter-in-law, come and try." Old Madame Zhu scolded Mulan with a commanding attitude. She was obviously begging for help, but she acted like this. Who would feel comfortable seeing this? In ancient times, mothers-in-law were arrogant and thought that it was natural for their daughter-in-law to do anything. Mrs. Zhu was the same. She thought that it was natural for Mulan to carry her on her back. Mulan teased, "Mother, Yin is right. I can't carry you. If you're not afraid that we'll fall into the ditch together later, I can give it a try. I'm just afraid that I'll accidentally fall down. I'm fine. After all, I'm young, but you're different. You can't stand to fall at your age. If your bones are broken, you'll have to be treated. You won't be able to get out of bed for a long time. I have many children at home, and I'm busy these days. I don't have time to take care of you." Mulan successfully scared Mrs. Zhu. Thinking that she might break her leg, Mrs. Zhu didn't dare to let Mulan try. If she really fell, it would be too late for her to regret. Mrs. Zhu was a little impatient. "Forget it. I won't let you carry me. You're useless." Although she was scolded by Mrs. Zhu, at least she didn't lose anything. In the past, Mrs. Zhu scolded her even more harshly, so Mulan didn't take it to heart. Zhao Yun secretly gave Mulan a thumbs up. Mulan was indeed much smarter than before. She learned how to scare people. After a few people walked for a while, they came to the field of the Zhu family's first branch. Zhu Dainiu was lying on the ridge of the field. His face was a little pale. Zhao Yun understood that Zhu Dainiu should have fainted because of heat stroke. Harvesting rice outside in such weather for a long time, after being exposed to the sun, heat stroke was a very normal thing. When family Zhu separated from the family, they kept a few acres of farmland. Zhu Sanlu also got some. Because Mrs. Zhu and Zhu Sanlu lived with the first branch, the few acres of farmland in their hands were given to Zhu Dainiu to farm. It was harvest season, but Zhu Sanlu didn't know anything about farm work. The only man in the family who could work in the field was Zhu Dainiu. Zhu Dainiu harvested all the rice in these several acres of farmland by himself. It was inevitable that he would be tired. In addition, the weather was so hot that he fainted in the field. Brother, brother. Zhu Eru called Zhu Dainiu a few times. Zhu Dainiu didn't respond at all. Zhao Yun'er said, Brother Eru, he has a heat stroke. Hurry up and take him home. It's very hot outside. The hotter it is, the easier it is for something to happen. Zhu Eru nodded hurriedly and carried Zhu Dainiu on his back. Chapter 2148. Old Madam Zhu hurriedly called out from the side, then quickly sent it back. Mrs. Zhu's face was full of worry. She was afraid that something bad would happen to Zhu Dainiu. She knew very well that the family Zhu relied on Zhu Dainiu now. If anything happened to Zhu Dainiu, the whole family would suffer. Zhu Eru endured the pain in his back and carried Zhu Dainiu back to the family Zhu. Mrs. Qi was at home taking care of the children. She didn't expect that something would happen to Zhu Dainiu. As soon as she saw Zhu Eru carrying Zhu Dainiu back, she cried, What happened? Mom, Eru, what happened to Dainiu? Mrs. Zhu was in a bad mood. Seeing Mrs. Qi crying, she replied angrily, Didn't you see that your husband fainted? Mother, why did he faint all of a sudden? Is he all right? Will he die? What should we do if he dies? Looking at Mrs. Qi's anxious eyes, Mrs. Zhu replied angrily, You bitch, do you know how to talk? If you don't know how to talk, then shut up. How can you curse your man to die like this? If something really happens to our boss, I'll tear your mouth apart. Mrs. Zhu's scolding made Mrs. Zhu tremble in fear. She complained, Mom, I'm just worried. What happened to Dainiu? He had a heat stroke. Don't be long-winded. Go and ask Dr. Sun to come over. Mrs. Zhu ordered. Madame Qi hurriedly nodded in response, then ran out of the Zhu family's courtyard. Zhu Eru had already sent Zhu Dainiu back to his room. Mom, should we wait for Dr. Sun to come over now? Zhu Eru wiped the sweat on his forehead and asked, What else can we do if we don't wait for Dr. Sun to come over? Mrs. Zhu said helplessly. They were not doctors, so Zhu Dainiu could only wait for Dr. Sun to come and see him. Zhao Yun looked at Zhu Dainiu's complexion. Heat stroke was quite serious. Many people thought that heat stroke was just a small matter. In fact, it was not. If heat stroke was not treated well, the mortality rate would be very high. Brother Eru, help him put a pillow under his feet and make it slightly higher. Sister Mulan, go open the window and let some fresh air in. Zhao Yun'er instructed Mulan and Zhu Eru. Then she looked at Mrs. Zhu and instructed Mrs. Zhu, Auntie, go and get a basin of cold water. Then take a towel, dip it in the water, and put it on your head. Mulan and Zhu Eru did as they were told, but Mrs. Zhu was stunned. She looked at Zhao Yun'er and asked suspiciously, Do you think your words are useful? You're not a doctor. Mrs. Zhu remained suspicious of Zhao Yun'er. She felt that Zhao Yun'er was not reliable. After all, Zhao Yun'er was indeed not a doctor. How could a young girl know so much? She might be talking nonsense. Zhao Yun'er felt that her kindness was not rewarded. She was obviously helping others, but she was doubted like this. If she had not been afraid that someone would die, she would not have interfered. After rolling her eyes, Zhao Yun'er said, Believe it or not, if anything happens to your son, don't blame me for not helping you. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, Mrs. Zhu began to waver. She wondered whether she should believe Zhao Yun'er's words. Mulan said, "Mother, just listen to Yun'er. Yun'er knows a lot. She knows more than a doctor." Chapter 2149. Although Mrs. Zhu didn't really like Zhao Yun'er, she knew that Zhao Yun'er was capable. Otherwise, she wouldn't have become as rich as she was now. Her Daniu's condition was a little serious. If something really happened, as Zhao Yun'er said, she couldn't bear the responsibility. Now, she could only treat a dead horse as a living horse. It would be good if she succeeded. Mrs. Zhu splashed cold water on a wet towel and placed it on Zhu Daniu's forehead according to Zhao Yun'er's instructions. "Hey, Daniu, don't scare your mother. Don't get into trouble. If something happens to you, what should I do?" Mrs. Zhu saw that Zhu Daniu still hadn't woken up and complained tearfully. Zhao Yun was a little annoyed by Mrs. Zhu's crying. Zhu Daniu was Mrs. Zhu's son after all. It was normal for Mrs. Zhu to worry about her son crying. "Mother, don't cry. It's useless to cry now. It'll only harm your body." Zhao Eru comforted from his side. Mrs. Zhu took the towel and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. She muttered, "It's easy for you to say. How can I not cry? Aren't I worried about your older brother's condition? Now that you've separated from the family, only your older brother can be filial and take care of me. If something happens to him, how can I live on?" Mrs. Zhu's words were somewhat accusing Zhu Eru of being unfilial. After separating from the family, she didn't care about him and didn't fulfill her filial duties in front of him. Zhu Eru couldn't help but feel a little sad when he heard Mrs. Zhu's words. Could she blame him for not being filial? If Mrs. Zhu hadn't mistreated his wife and children, he wouldn't have had to separate from the family like this. Since they separated from the family, he couldn't stay in front of Mrs. Zhu every day and take care of her like Zhu Daniu. "Mother, what are you saying? If big brother is really gone, will I still have third brother? You have so many sons. Are you worried that no one will take care of you?" Zhu Eru replied, "Why don't you say that you will take care of me? Your third brother is so young. How can I count on him?" Mrs. Zhu glared at Zhu Daniu. Zhu Eru snorted, "Mother, third brother can already marry a wife. How is she young? You treat her so well and treasure her so much. What's wrong with being filial to her when you're old? Now that he's a man, he should take responsibility as a man. Otherwise, what's the point of our family working so hard to save money for him to study? Don't tell me that you've already gained so many benefits and now you don't care about anything." Zhu Eru said this to push the responsibility to Zhu Sanlu. Although he knew that he had to be filial to his parents, he was not a fool. Back when they were in the family Zhu, Mrs. Zhu liked him the most. Mrs. Zhu treasured Zhu Sanlu the most. Since that was the case, Zhu Sanlu shouldn't take advantage of the situation. He didn't need to be filial when he grew up. The more benefits he received, the more responsibilities he had to bear. This was equal. Mrs. Zhu snorted angrily. She couldn't argue with Zhu Eru. Madame Qi soon invited Dr. Sun back. As soon as she saw Dr. Sun, Mrs. Zhu immediately went up to him and said, "Dr. Sun, help me take a look at our Daniu." Our Daniu suddenly fainted. "See if he's okay." Dr. Sun nodded and then walked to the bed. He first checked Zhu Daniu's appearance and reaction, then checked Zhu Daniu's pulse. Chapter 2150. Dr. Sun raised his head and glanced at Mrs. Zhu indifferently. "You're an old woman, so you really talk too much. You're not a doctor, so what do you know? I'm diagnosing him, so I have to take a closer look and confirm first, right? If the diagnosis is wrong, won't you blame me for it?" Mrs. Zhu curled her lips and then said, Okay. Then, Dr. Sun, tell me what's wrong with my Daniu." Dr. Sun got up and sighed. "He's suffering from heat stroke." "Heat stroke? Then it shouldn't be a big deal. There are too many people suffering from heat stroke these days. Those who work in the field will get heat stroke if they're not careful. He'll be fine as long as he has a good rest." Mrs. Zhu muttered and felt relieved. However, Dr. Sun said very seriously, "Family Zhu's sister-in-law, although it's only a heat stroke, your Daniu situation is a bit serious. Fortunately, you raised his feet a little and put a cold towel on his forehead. You handled it in time. Otherwise, your Dainyu might have lost his life. When Mrs. Zhu heard this, she was shocked. Her lips trembled as she asked, "No way? Dr. Sun, heat stroke is so serious?" Dee, what do you think? Do you think I'm bluffing you? Heat stroke can be serious or minor. If it's minor, it won't be a big problem after a short rest. If it's serious, you might lose your life. You'd better be careful. It's rice harvest season now, so don't be too tired. Otherwise, it's easy to get heat stroke. Yesterday, I heard that a person in a neighboring village died of heat stroke. Dr. Sun said with a serious face. He made the matter sound very serious because he wanted to attract Mrs. Zhu's attention. Otherwise, Family Zhu would look down on Zhu Dainyu too much. If he continued to harvest rice in the field and became too tired, he might really lose his life if he fainted again. After all, it was a matter of life and death. As a doctor, Dr. Sun naturally attached great importance to it. When Mrs. Zhu heard Dr. Sun's words, she was so scared that her face turned ashen. If Zhu Dainyu really died of heat stroke today, it would be a heavy blow to their family Zhu. Mulan looked at Zhao Yun'er with admiration. Yun'er, you're really amazing. Today, my eldest brother's fortune was saved by you in time. Mother, you have to thank Yun. Mulan praised Zhao Yun'er while speaking to her. Mrs. Zhu was very picky about Zhao Yun. At this moment, Zhao Yun'er was Zhu Dainyu's savior. No matter what, Family Zhu should be grateful to Zhao Yun'er. Mrs. Zhu glanced at Zhao Yun'er. Although Zhao Yun'er had targeted her before and made her unhappy, she still thanked her for saving Zhu Dainyu's life. Dr. Sun, is there anything wrong with my Dainyu now? When will he wake up? Mrs. Zhu asked Dr. Sun again. Let him lie in bed and have a good rest. He'll be fine after a good sleep. If you're still worried, I'll prescribe a cooling medicine to relieve the heat in his body. However, this medicine isn't cheap. It costs 600 copper coins. Think carefully before you decide whether to buy it or not. Dr. Sun made it clear in advance. He was afraid that if he really prescribed the medicine and asked Mrs. Zhu for 600 copper coins, Mrs. Zhu would say that he was greedy for money and deliberately prescribed such expensive medicine. Chapter 2151. Although Mrs. Zhu gritted her teeth and bought it, she still had a pained expression on her face. If it wasn't a last resort, she wouldn't want to spend this money. 600 copper coins wasn't a small amount. It could buy dozens of caddies of meat. If he bought the meat, he would be able to have a good meal. But if she bought the medicine, she wouldn't be able to eat anything and it would be bitter. Dr. Sun nodded. All right, I'll go get you a set. Someone from your family will come with me to get it. You can also pay the 600 copper coins. Mrs. Zhu pointed to Madame Qi on the side and said, Eldest daughter-in-law, you go back with Dr. Sun to get the medicine later. Madame Qi quickly nodded. Okay, mother. Mrs. Zhu turned to Dr. Sun and smiled ingratiatingly. Dr. Sun, can we give you the 600 copper coins later? Can we put it on credit first? Dr. Sun's face suddenly darkened. He replied to Mrs. Zhu with displeasure. I say, you old woman, you're really something. You only want to put on credit. It's fine if your family is so poor that you can't even afford to eat. But I heard that your family's third son can earn a lot of money from teaching children. You can definitely take out the 600 copper coins and give it to me. If everyone in our village is like you and relies on credit, then I don't need to work as a doctor anymore. I'll just directly help you people. Mrs. Zhu was embarrassed by Dr. Sun's words, but what Dr. Sun said was true. If he was kind enough to let everyone put it on credit, then no one in the entire village would want to give money. If they put it on credit, Dr. Sun wouldn't be able to maintain his livelihood. Zhu Eru advised Mrs. Zhu from the side. Mother, it's not easy for Dr. Sunday. Since your family has money, then don't put it on credit. Anyway, you have to give it sooner or later. It's not like if you don't give it now, you won't have to give it in the future if you drag it on. Mrs. Zhu hesitated and reluctantly took out 600 copper coins and handed it to Dr. Sunday. When she thought about how she had spent 600 copper coins in one go, Mrs. Zhu clutched her chest. Her heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. Sigh, poor people really can't afford to treat illnesses these days. They can get so much money just by buying a few sets of medicine. Mrs. Zhu grumbled. Mother, pay more attention to your health. Try not to get sick, Eru said. Mrs. Zhu pursed her lips. It's normal for people to get sick at their age. My old woman will definitely get sick in the future. I'm just afraid that when I get sick, I'll have to spend money. My sons won't bear to part with the money and won't treat me. Thinking of this situation, Mrs. Zhu was a little worried. If her sons really refused to treat her, wouldn't she be waiting for death? Zhu Eru's mouth twitched, and he replied to Mrs. Zhu, Mother, what are you talking about? If you're sick, how can we not care about you? Who knows? Zhu Eru sighed. He didn't know what Mrs. Zhu was worried about. If a person didn't care about his own mother's life and wasn't willing to spend money to treat her illness, then what kind of man was he? He would be struck by lightning later on. After Dr. Sun got the money, he tidied up the medicine box and got up to leave. Then I'll go back first. Take good care of him. Let him rest at home for the next few days. Don't go out to work again. Okay, Dr. Sun, take care. Zhu Eru nodded in response. Chapter 2152. Zhu Eru asked in confusion. Mother, Dr. Sun said that Big Brother is fine and just needs to rest at home. Why are you still frowning? What are you worried about? Mrs. Zhu scowled and glared at Zhu Eru. You brat, it's easy for you to say. Didn't you hear what Dr. Sun said? Dr. Sun said that your big brother should rest at home for the next few days. The rice in our family's field hasn't been harvested yet. Your big brother is resting in bed now. So who will help harvest the rice? We can't waste several mu of rice, right? Our family will rely on these rice as rations for the next year. Otherwise, what will the family eat and drink? Zhu Eru listened to Mrs. Zhu's words and thought that it was true. Now that they had separated, Zhu Dainiu was the only labor force for the first branch and the third branch. Zhu Dainiu was lying on the bed. They can't count on old Madame Zhu to do the work in the fields, nor can they count on Madame Qi. There was another man, Zhu Sanlu. Unfortunately, Zhu Sanlu had been spoiled since he was a child. He had never done any work in the field, so his skin was soft and tender. It was impossible for him to work in the field and harvest the rice now. The rice in the family Zhu's several mu of fields must be harvested. They couldn't waste it. Mrs. Zhu cried for a while. Suddenly, she thought of something and looked at Zhu Eru. She said to Zhu Eru, Eru, you heard what Dr. Sun said. Your big brother has to rest well now. He can't work in the field easily. It's not easy to grow grain in our family's several mu of fields. Why don't you help us harvest it? Anyway, it's not too late to wait for your family's several mu of fields to be harvested. Zhu Eru listened to Mrs. Zhu's words and felt a little embarrassed. If it was in the past, it would be fine if he helped. Harvesting the rice would at most be a little difficult. After all, they were a family. He couldn't just watch the grain in the several mu of fields go to waste. But these 2 days, he felt that it was already very difficult to harvest the rice in his family's fields, let alone helping the first branch harvest it. His waist was very painful. After harvesting for a while, he had to rest for a long time. Otherwise, the pain would be unbearable. Before Zhu Eru could answer, Mulan jumped out and refused very directly. Mother, it's a hot day. Big brother has a heat stroke. Eru may also have a heat stroke. It's already very difficult for him to harvest our family's several mu of fields. If you ask him to help you harvest the rice now, aren't you afraid that he'll be exhausted? Besides, his back hasn't been feeling well these few days. By the time he's done helping you guys harvest, I reckon his back will be crippled. Mother, you Eru's father's sons, right? You can't just wait for him to be better than like Big Brother, so you won't order him around. Old Madame Zhu looked at Mulan angrily. If you don't want to help, then don't. Why are you still making so many excuses? Mulan sneered. Mother, I'm not pulling you. Look at Eru's back and you'll know. Only then did Mother Zhu notice that Zhu Eru had been stooping when he walked. Presumably, there was something wrong with his back. Only then did she bitterly stop arguing. However, when she thought that it was troublesome that there was no one to harvest the rice in the several mu of fields, she muttered, Then what do you think we should do? Your big brother is dying. If I don't count on Eru's son, who else can I count on? Chapter 2153. Your third brother? That's right, mother. Third brother is a man. In the past, he was young and was still studying. Our family's farm work was carried out by eldest brother in Eru, so he didn't have to do anything in the fields. Now that third brother has grown up, he has to help out with some of the family's farm work. After all, eldest brother in Eru can't do it, so there's no harm in letting him do it, Mulan replied indifferently. Mrs. Zhu frowned and was a little unhappy. Mrs. Zhu treasured her son, Zhu Sanlu, very much. How could she bear to let Zhu Sanlu work in the fields? Seeing that Mulan had spoken, she pursed her lips and replied, "How can your third brother do it? He has never harvested rice before. If you suddenly ask him to, he won't know how to do it." Mulan was a little speechless. Mother, who is born knowing how to do everything. It doesn't matter if third brother doesn't know how to do it now. We can let Eru teach him slowly. If he doesn't learn now, is he not going to learn for the rest of his life? When third brother gets married, he will definitely have to live separately from eldest brother. At that time, third brother will have to do the farm work himself. We can't expect eldest brother to help, right? Mother, it's fine if you spoil third brother, but you have to be clear. Third brother isn't young anymore. He has to take responsibility when it's time. He's not a child. He won't be protected by you for the rest of his life. Mrs. Zhu knew that Mulan's words made sense. Sometimes people were like this. They understood the principle, but it was another matter when they did it. Zhu Sanlu was the apple of her eye. She wanted to protect him for the rest of her life. Would Zhu Sanlu be able to endure working in the fields on such a hot day? With his weak body, he would probably complain about not doing it in less than an hour. Zhu Sanlu was also someone who knew how to act spoiled. If he cried and complained, how could Mrs. Zhu bear it? She would definitely do it according to Zhu Sanlu's temperament. Mrs. Zhu's lips trembled and she mumbled, "Second daughter-in-law. It's not like your third brother has nothing to do at home. He still has to teach the children." Mother, isn't teaching half a day's work? The other half of the day can be left to third brother. Mrs. Zhu was still a little reluctant. It's not easy for your third brother to teach. He has to use his brain. Teaching for half a day and working in the field for the other half is too tiring. He won't be able to bear it. After talking for a long time, Mulan finally understood. Mrs. Zhu was reluctant to let Zhu Sanlu work, so she came up with so many excuses. Since that was the case, there was no point for her to continue. She sighed and replied to Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, if that's the case, then let's hire someone to help harvest them. At worst, we'll just have to spend some money." Mrs. Zhu looked troubled. She asked Mulan weakly, "If we hire someone to help us harvest rice, how much do we have to pay a day? It's such a hot day, and it's such a tiring job. Each person will be paid at least 40 to 50 copper coins a day. If we hire 2 or 3 people to harvest a few mu of land, they'll finish harvesting in 3 to 5 days, Mulan replied. Mrs. Zhu calculated in her mind. If 2 or 3 people were to stay for 3 to 5 days, it would add up to a few hundred copper coins. How could she bear to spend such a large amount of money? If she harvested the rice herself, then she wouldn't have to spend these few hundred copper coins. She could use it to buy meat and eat it to nourish her body. Now, wasn't this letting others take advantage of her and let them make money? Chapter 2154. Mulan replied impatiently, "Mother, you can't do this, and you can't do that. Since you don't want third brother to work in the fields, we can only spend money to hire someone to help us harvest the rice. Otherwise, who would be so kind as to help us harvest the rice for no reason? Not many people would do such a thankless task. It's fine if you can't bear to spend the money. In any case, you're the ones losing out. After all, 1 mu of rice is worth a lot of money." Mrs. Zhu stammered, "I'm just saying, what's wrong with feeling the pinch for the money? Mother, it's fine as long as you've thought it through. However, I've already found the method for you. You can hire someone yourself." Mrs. Zhu originally wanted to count on the second branch for help, but she didn't expect that Mulan would reject her in advance before she could even ask. Mulan knew in her heart that old Madame Zhu liked to scheme. If she hired someone to help with the work, she might even want to rely on her and ask her for money. She wasn't stupid enough to help the first branch pay a few hundred copper coins for nothing. "Mother, if there's nothing else, will go back first. Eru still has to harvest the rice. Mulan said her goodbyes. Mrs. Zhu didn't want to keep her, so she could only agree. When they arrived at the family Zhu's courtyard, Zhao Yun finally noticed that Zhu Sanlu had arranged a room with some chairs inside. About 10 children sat in the room and studied behind Zhu Sanlu. When she arrived at the courtyard, she heard a poem being recited in the room. Shallow wine is shared in front of people, hugging by the soft jade lamp, looking back into the embrace, always full of affection. Pain, 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 gently pushing the husband, gradually hearing his voice tremble, slightly startled and flushed. Try it again and again, there are no gaps at all. This time the flavor is different. Move, 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 let's wrap our arms around each other. Let's put our lips together, let's tongue play. Zhao Yun'er's face immediately darkened when she heard this. This voice belonged to Zhu Sanlu, and the person who was reciting this poem was also Zhu Sanlu. Zhao Yun thought that Zhu Sanlu's temperament had changed, that he had become a good person and knew how to do serious things. But now, after listening to Zhu Sanlu's poem, he realized what it meant by a leopard cannot change its spots. Even when he taught children to read, he taught them all sorts of nonsense. How is this a proper poem? It was obviously an explicit, dirty poem. He did not know where the Zhu Sanlu learned from, but he was very interested in these things and knew a lot about them. This kind of poem was obviously not suitable for children to listen to, because these children were very young. If they were to learn these things, wouldn't it lead the children astray? The so-called role model did not exist for Zhu Sanlu at all. This Zhu Sanlu was a wretched man who made people feel disgusted. The villagers probably didn't know Zhu Sanlu's character. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to send their children here to study. The parents had good intentions. They wanted to learn how to read and write and gain more knowledge. The school's fees were expensive, but Zhu Sanlu's was cheap. More or less, they could learn something. Who would have thought that they would meet a wolf, a tiger, and a leopard like Zhu Sanlu? Zhao Yun'er stopped to listen. Seeing the few children inside, she asked Zhu Sanlu, "Teacher, what is the meaning of this poem that you're reciting?" "That's right, teacher. Why don't you explain it to us? We don't understand." Zhu Sanlu smiled wretchedly. "Why? Do you want to understand what it means?" "Yes, yes." The children nodded in response. Zhu Sanlu's wretched smile deepened. "Hee. Then teacher will explain it to you properly." Chapter 2155. Because the children were paid to study, they usually listened to the lessons more seriously. All of them held their little faces and waited for Zhu Sanlu to explain. Zhu Sanlu explained with a wretched smile. "Actually, this poem is very, very well written. It has deep meaning, but you're still young, so you probably don't understand. When you grow up and get married in the future, you'll understand." The children asked in soft and cute voices, "Sir, why do you have to wait until you get married in order to understand?" "Because this is what men and women do when they are together. If you are curious, go back and secretly see what your parents do when they sleep at night. If you see two big white buttocks bumped together, you will know what it is." This poem is about the sweet talk between a man and a woman after they have sex. The children naturally didn't understand this kind of thing, but after hearing Zhu Sanlu's words, they all said that they would go back at night and carefully observe if their parents did anything when they were sleeping and if two big white buttocks bumped together. "Yun'er, what's the matter? Why aren't you walking?" Seeing that Zhao Yun'er had stopped and was listening to Zhu Sanlu's lecture in the room, she asked curiously. Zhao Yun'er frowned and replied somewhat angrily, "Sister-in-law Mulan, your third brother is really a good-for-nothing." Mulan was even more puzzled. "Yun'er, what's wrong with my third brother? Isn't he teaching the children to study? Why are you suddenly saying that he's a good-for-nothing?" Facing Mulan's puzzled face, Zhao Yun didn't know what to say. She was embarrassed to say what Zhu Sanlu had done. It would be embarrassing to say it. But if she didn't say it, she couldn't harm the children who were studying under Zhu Sanlu. If the children in the village were all led astray, wouldn't the atmosphere of the entire village be ruined in the future? Now that the children were so old, it was the time for them to develop their worldviews and values. She couldn't let these children be ruined for nothing because of Zhu Sanlu. What's wrong with Yin'er? Seeing that Zhao Yun'er was silent, Mulan became more anxious and hurriedly asked. Zhao Yun'er sighed. Sister Mulan, tell your third brother not to teach anymore. What kind of plaything is he teaching his children? In my opinion, he's a demon with worms in his head. All he can think about is those filthy things. Mulan shook her head, looking like she didn't understand. Yun'er, speak clearly. Why do I not understand what you're saying? Zhao Yun'er took a deep breath and slowly explained to Mulan. She told her what Zhu Sanlu had taught and what he had said to the child. After Mulan heard this, she was also very shocked. She never thought that Zhu Sanlu would be able to teach a book in this aspect. No wonder Zhao Yun'er hemmed and hawed and didn't explain it clearly. How could an ordinary person have the nerve to talk about such things? When she thought about how Zhu Sanlu was a member of family Zhu, Mulan felt very embarrassed. How could he be like this? Fortunately, Zhao Yun'er found out about this matter first and told them. If outsiders found out later, their family Zhu would be ridiculed. Living in the village, who would want to be pointed at and gossiped about. Although they had already separated from the family, the things that family Zhu did would still affect the second branch. The other branches of family Zhu could be shameless, but the second branch couldn't stand being ridiculed. Chapter 2156. Dogs can't change their habits. It's not easy for some people to change their temperament. Your third brother is like that. He used to be so wretched. It's impossible for him to get on the right track and teach people now. Mulan sighed heavily. With a bitter expression, she asked Zhao Yun'er weakly, Yun'er, what should we do now? This matter can't be publicized. It won't be good if people know. But these children can't follow my third brother and learn bad things. Their parents pay tuition so that the children can learn more words and learn more knowledge. They don't want their children to come to our house to learn these things. Zhao Yun'er nodded and said, Yes, this matter has to be handled carefully. In my opinion, before Zhao Yun'er could finish speaking, Zhu Eru, who had been listening by the side, couldn't take it anymore. With a dark face, he said, In my opinion, just beat him up. If he still doesn't learn his lesson and continues to teach the children bad things, then I'll continue to beat him up. I want to see if his face or my fist is harder. Zhu Eru rushed into the room as he spoke and directly pulled Zhu Sanlu out of the room. Zhu Eru was tall and strong, while Zhu Sanlu was thin and weak like a woman who couldn't even stand up to the wind. Zhu Eru lifted him effortlessly. Zhu Sanlu wanted to struggle, but he couldn't twist Zhu Eru's strength. His collar was lifted, and his neck was a little uncomfortable. Zhu Sanlu asked angrily, Second brother, what are you doing? What are you doing? My neck is uncomfortable, so I quickly let go of my hand. I don't know what's wrong with you. How could Zhu Eru let Zhu Sanlu go so easily? He snorted and said, What am I doing? What do you think I'm doing? I'm here to teach you a lesson, you shameless thing. Zhu Eru didn't talk nonsense with Zhu Sanlu. He directly punched Zhu Sanlu in the face. Zhu Sanlu cried out in pain, It hurts, it hurts. Second brother, I'm in so much pain because of you. If you want to hit people, just hit people. Why did you have to hit my face? Aren't you afraid of disfiguring me? My handsome face. Zhu Sanlu cried out in pain as he reached out to touch his cheek, looking very distressed. Zhao Yun was almost disgusted by Zhu Sanlu. This effeminate face was actually called handsome. It seemed that some people really didn't look at themselves in the mirror and lived in their imagination. Zhu Sanlu's shouts drew Mrs. Zhu out of the house. When Mrs. Zhu saw that Zhu Sanlu was beaten by Zhu Eru, she was very anxious. She scolded Zhu Danyu angrily. What are you doing? Second brother, what are you doing? Why did you hit your third brother? You stinking brat. How can you be an elder brother like this? Do you think your third brother isn't pitiful enough? Aren't you afraid of crippling your third brother with this slap? As Mrs. Zhu spoke, she punched Zhu Eru with her fist as if she wanted to get back at Zhu Sanlu for his injuries. Zhu Eru snorted and dodged. Mother, what are you doing? I should teach third brother a lesson. Who told him to do such a thing? Zhu Eru said with a cold face. After that, his cold eyes were cast on Zhu Sanlu. Chapter 2157. Mrs. Zhu looked at Zhu Sanlu with a pained expression and said softly, "Sanlu, how are you? Let Mother take a look. Mother will blow on it for you." Zhu Sanlu said, "Mother, there's no need to blow on it. Help me take a look and see if there are any marks on my handsome face." Mrs. Zhu leaned closer and said with a pained expression, "Your face is a little red and swollen. How can there be no marks? Mother, what should I do? I only have this handsome face left to look at. If my face is ruined, will there be any women who will like me?" Zhu Sanlu asked bitterly, looking very sad. Zhao Yin, he couldn't take it anymore. This pervert actually cared about his face? In her opinion, Zhu Sanlu deserved to have his face ruined. He didn't have any self-awareness and was too narcissistic. Mrs. Zhu couldn't take it when she heard Zhu Sanlu's cries. She quickly comforted Zhu Sanlu. "Luer, it's okay. Actually, it's okay. It should disappear after a while. Your face shouldn't be a problem." Zhu Sanlu still had a bitter expression on his face. "Mother, don't lie to me. Is my face really okay?" "Of course. Why would I lie to you? It's not like I used a knife to shave your face. This injury is no big deal." Zhu Sanlu pursed his lips. "Mother, it hurts. Second brother is too much. I didn't even provoke him. Why did he come and hit me? He hit me so hard. Isn't he afraid of injuring me?" Mrs. Zhu was also a little angry as she asked Zhu Eru, "Second brother, you have to be clear. Your third brother is now a teacher at home. He's doing serious things. They didn't do anything. Tell me, what kind of bastard did he do for you to come and punish him like this?" Zhu Sanlu followed behind Mrs. Zhu and said, "It's strange. Second brother, you have to give a reason for hitting people, right? I know you don't like me, but you can't just come and punish me for no reason." Zhu Eru sneered. "I think you don't repent, even in the face of death. Don't you know what you've done? Must I say it out loud? Second brother, tell me then. Anyway, I don't know what I did wrong." Zhu Sanlu, who was hiding behind Mrs. Zhu, replied stubbornly. Zhu Eru sneered, then told them the whole story. "All right, third brother, mother, didn't you ask why? Then I'll say it, and see who's the one who's embarrassed." Zhu Eru repeated what Zhao Yun'er said just now. After he finished speaking, he couldn't help but step forward and grab Zhu Sanlu's collar. "You should act like a teacher, right? If you do a good job, perhaps our Zhu family's days will be better. But if you mess around like this, the parents of these children will find out sooner or later. Right now, I'm only giving you a taste of my fist. If others find out, they might chop you up with a knife and teach you a lesson. At that time, you won't even be able to keep your life." After hearing Zhu Eru's words, Mrs. Zhu opened her mouth in disbelief. But she knew that Zhu Eru had a calm temperament and wasn't the kind of person who would make things up. Her third son used to have such a wretched temperament, and it was likely that he still hadn't changed. If things were really as Zhu Eru said, then it was indeed very serious. The villagers wanted to send their children here to learn from Zhu Sanlu and learn to read. No one wanted their children to not only not learn well, but also learn bad things. Chapter 2158. In this way, not only would Zhu Sanlu suffer, but the family Zhu would also be condemned by the villagers. They would not be able to live in Shui Lan village in the future. After all, they would be criticized all day long. They would not be able to live. Most importantly, the family Zhu would lose a source of income because of this. Now, Zhu Sanlu could earn some money to support the family by teaching these children to read and write every year. Without this money, Zhu Sanlu did not know how to do hard work. How could he live the rest of his life? Mrs. Zhu looked at Zhu Sanlu and questioned him. "Sanlu, is what your second brother said true? Are you really stupid enough to teach these children such unbearable things?" Zhu Sanlu felt guilty, but he was unwilling to admit it. He stammered, "Mother, don't listen to second brother's nonsense." "I'm not." Before Zhu Sanlu could finish speaking, Zhu Eru's fist hit Zhu Sanlu's other face heavily. "I think you're just stubborn. You're thick-skinned and unrepentant. Now you're still going to say that you didn't? I didn't. You haven't read it. How would you know the meaning of the poem? Zhu Sanlu replied weakly. To put it bluntly, he was still unwilling to admit it and was looking for an excuse for himself. He knew that the people standing in the courtyard had not studied. The poem was obscure and difficult to understand. How could people who had not studied know the meaning of the poem? As long as he gritted his teeth and insisted that he did not mean it, he did not believe that Zhu Eru would insist that it meant something else. Zhu Eru was angered by Zhu Sanlu. He turned to look at Zhao Yun'er and asked Zhao Yun'er about the meaning of the poem. Mrs. Zhu felt sorry for Zhu Sanlu. She thought about it and defended Zhu Sanlu. Eru, it's useless for you to ask Zhao Yun'er. She has not studied. What if it's nonsense? Your third brother clearly didn't mean it. If she said it meant it, wouldn't your third brother be wronged? Look at how hard you punched him. You have to figure out the situation before you act, right? Mulan said, Mother, although Yun'er didn't go to school, her fifth uncle taught her. Her fifth uncle is a scholar. Old Madam Zhu unhappily replied, Who knows? Could it be that she's more powerful than your third brother? Your third brother came from a proper school. She looks like she only knows a little at most. How can she have the qualifications to criticize? Zhao Yun'er sneered. She looked at Zhu Sanlu and then at Mrs. Zhu. As the saying goes, a loving mother will spoil her son. This sentence is not without reason. Zhu Sanlu's current wretched appearance, old Madame Zhu's contribution cannot go unnoticed. She didn't want to get involved in this matter. After all, it was someone else's business. Unfortunately, what Zhu Sanlu did was too outrageous. She didn't care because she was afraid that it would affect their family's reputation. Zhao Yun'er's lips curved up. It's fine if you don't believe me. I really didn't go to school to study. My knowledge is not enough to convince others. Family Zhu's sister-in-law, I can understand that you look down on me. But what does this poem mean? Why don't we ask Master Shitzi? He was born in a noble family and is very knowledgeable. He should be able to understand the meaning of this poem, right? Mrs. Zhu thought about it. If they asked Mu Yanfeng would definitely know. Mu Yanfeng's knowledge was much higher than Zhu Sanlu's. He definitely wouldn't misunderstand the meaning of this poem. Thus, she replied embarrassedly, Okay, Sanlu, let's go ask Master Shitzi. If Master Shitzi is on your side, Mother will definitely seek justice for you today. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.